Do you want to be president?
No, I just don't want to put my kids through that shit.
You don't think Barron Trump and NYU is just mopping up strange? That's what his dorm room sounds like. I'm just saying, your kids are going to be good.
I hear you, but they don't want to have Secret Service around them all the time. Yeah. So Barron may be getting it right, but there's some dude back there going, I'm not saying Kamala is the strongest leader. Yeah. So there's a lot of things I disagree with her on, but I think her heart's in the right place.
To young entrepreneurs or business owners, what advice would you give them to either scale or look for investors?
Don't.
What do you think the general feeling of Americans is?
Pissed off.
About?
Everything, because everything's a fight. There's no facts we agree on.
How do we fix inflation?
Inflation is fixed. The problem is the prices that are already up are already up. Donald Trump's going to put himself first. You talk about what happened before. Every single thing he's done. Those 44 cabinet members who came out against him, they didn't say we disagreed. They said he was unfit for office because he did shit for himself.
Luka or Dirk?
Well,
what's up, everybody? Welcome to Flagrant. Today, we're joined by an incredibly illustrious guest. I'm very excited. I know the boys are very excited. We got Big B Billionaire, NBA champion, created the internet, okay? Created streaming, created messages that go away, created the baby oil at the Diddy Party. It's Mark Cuban here. Okay, Mark. Okay. So first question is, have you been to any Diddy parties? We need to ask all our billionaire friends.
Absolutely not.
Epstein's Island?
No.
That was a hesitation.
No, because I didn't put Epstein. No, absolutely not.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So it's so funny when all that shit happened with Epstein, like, because I do email everything.
Yeah.
So I do everything via email, right? So I'm putting in Jeffrey Epstein, Jeff Epstein, Epstein.
Sure, and you respond to every email.
I don't respond to all of them. Yes. But when he emailed, no, he didn't email me. But some dude that was kind of sketchy said, "Hey, I got this guy. I want to introduce you to Jeffrey Epstein. He does all this money management and stuff." I'm like, nah,
Smart move.
Yeah, thank God. This
but
is
if
like
he said to you,
2002.
"I've got a 17-year-old Eastern European," you'd be like, "Is his name Luka?"
Oh, yeah, no, I'm like, I know which direction you were going, right?
Male or female,
right?
They play with balls.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but Diddy did, I did do business with him in 2002, I think it was, where somebody that knew him connected him to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in having him design a Mavs jersey?"
I remember the Sean John jersey.
And so I was like, cool. And he didn't do the actual work, but we had the jersey and that was it. But
this is when we all loved Diddy, though.
Yeah,
everybody loved Diddy until about 2 months ago.
Yeah, and like
this is not Diddy. This is Sean John. This is
Sean
different.
John. Yeah, big difference.
Yeah,
Sean
it was a silver jersey or something, right?
No, it was green. It was like straight up green, but they were badass.
The shiny.
But I've like met him twice, so
So you're clean.
I'm clean, right? I never saw him on the illegal baby oil market or nothing.
Illegal baby oil market. Yeah.
Nothing. No,
so here's the thing that I'm so interested about you, right? Is because I feel like, and I don't know what it's like in your position, but I feel like up until election time, you are everybody's favorite billionaire, successful. I don't want to say rags to riches, but like really self-made. Like,
for sure.
And you are smart enough to know that if you get political,
shit's gonna hit.
Half the country goes, you know what? Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Why put yourself through? You made all the money.
Yeah.
You did everything. Everybody is basically, up until a few months ago, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people are like, conservatives are like, he's a businessman, he's smart, he'd be a good president. Liberals are like, he seems to care about people. All of his employees tend to be like fucking millionaires and shit. Like, I think he'd be a good president. And then you go in on Trump and Elon. Why?
Yeah. I mean, because I care what happens to this country. You know, I've known Donald Trump for 25 years. Yeah. And like, if he were sitting here, I'd cut it up with him. I don't care, right? I wouldn't want to do business with him again. Yeah. But I don't have a problem with him as a guy. But like, I know how he does business.
He did piss you off many years ago. I watched you on Letterman.
Yeah, well, I like to fuck with him, right? It's just like, it's like Elon. It's not like I have anything personal against him. Yeah. But if somebody's at a certain level, if they're going to fuck with me, because he would tweet at me, I'm going to fuck with him right back, right? Why would I not? And so, and it's the same with Elon. But the bigger picture is, I just don't think he was a very good president then. I don't think he'll be a very good president again. And that's it in a nutshell. Like, if he didn't run, and like, okay, so backstory, right? Like, I did this movie, Sharknado 3. Yeah. And I played the president in Sharknado 3. But they offered it to Donald Trump first, and he couldn't schedule it. If he had scheduled that, the world would be a different place.
Because he wouldn't be able to be president.
He wouldn't be doing all that shit, right?
Since he already played a
Well,
president
because
in a
we
fake
filmed
movie.
it. No, we filmed it right around the same time that he was doing all the stuff that come down the stairs and everything. And so who knows what would have happened. But to me, character matters, right? The type of person they are.
Yeah.
And I know people he's ripped off. I mean, Trump University, Trump Soho, that shit matters to me.
Yeah.
And, it's not just about policies, it's about who the person is. And so again, like if he was here and we were just shooting the shit, telling stories, you know, we'd cut it up, but not as president.
And can you break down for some people who might not know Trump Soho, maybe?
Yeah,
just
like-
one of the scandals.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what that was.
so like Trump
It's the Dominic
University.
Hotel.
Yeah.
Can you let him do it? I don't
yeah.
understand what you're. What is that? What is that?
I don't even know what they changed it to, right? Dominic, yeah. And so
I know I love that place.
and so he lied about the value of condos in that building, and people bought them. And so
He does that.
he does that, right?
He
Trump
does
University.
that.
He said, "Give me these thousands of dollars and come and show up to these." Not even classes, but seminars or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'll learn all about real estate, and you'll meet Donald Trump. Well, the Donald Trump you met was a big cutout. They had to
He
take
didn't
pictures
show.
with,
Right.
You know. And so,
What's
look,
more valuable, that or like a feminism major at Berkeley?
Barnard.
I might go for the Trump University.
There might be some information that we could learn
No,
from
but
that.
so to his point, the real estate thing, that seems like we are told that's just something rich people kind of do.
Fuck
Inflate
no.
the value. Can you explain why you have an issue with that? Why there might be a problem?
Look, like if I have to, if I'm doing a deal, I'm telling you the truth. What do I have to gain by lying?
You could be so much more wealthy, dude. It sucks you only worth a few billion. Dude.
Yeah.
You're so ethical.
No, that was back in the day. It's more than that.
Oh, you got it now? Okay, Mark.
Now it's,
Okay. Yo, prove it. Give him 50 million.
I don't care shit that small.
okay, you give me more. Let's run it up.
But you get it, right?
Do you ever
I mean,
want to do that though? Isn't that kind of funny? Like you ever see like a guy on the street like pushing a stroller and you're like, man, you need to be a millionaire. Like,
yeah, so.
but do you ever do that? And you go like, all right, I'm going to give that guy $1 million to change
No, I
his
mean,
life.
I've done shit for people, and like, yeah, there's like a couple of my guys that I grew up with or that I got to be close with that are down on luck, and like, you do it as the loan, right, just to set it up, but you know, and they pay me back $100 a month or whatever, but yeah, over $1 million to some of them because those are my guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You didn't just give them the money, they still got to pay you back.
Yeah, I said you got to pay me back. But,
You don't get rich just giving away money, bro.
No, because you know what happens. You know what happens? They said just this one time, right? Just this one time, right? Because they think they're going to pay you back.
Yeah.
And then it gets uncomfortable. And then it's like, fuck it.
No,
Yeah.
really, 50 million just this one time.
Just this one time.
Never
right?
ask you
never
for
gonna
another
ask you
fucking
that.
penny
Just the
again.
tip. Yeah, I know.
You have been a Diddy Party. Okay, all right. So this is something I think I was caught up in narrative. I think a lot of times when you're just looking at like headlines on the internet, you're just looking at Twitter, right? When things got political around the election, especially with you, and you started going at like Trump and Elon, my interpretation, I'll be honest with you, I was like, did he become like some like Democratic operative? Like what? Because I always knew you as the rebellious guy, like disruptor. You're like, you're the most fined owner in NBA history. You come in, you're going to do whatever you want. It's going to end up working out. You create these companies that disrupt. You start streaming. Literally, I don't even think people realize that. Now until I research this, and then I see you going after Trump and Elon, and I interpret it like, I guess he kind of folded. I guess he became
it's the exact
like
opposite.
the traditional billionaire
It's the exact
class.
opposite, right?
Okay.
You got a former president who lies his ass off and talks shit, right?
Yeah.
Like someone said, gangster, right? He's just going to do his thing. Then you got the richest motherfucker in the world. I mean, what's more anti-establishment than fucking with those two, right?
That's interesting. So when you're a billionaire, the only other people you can be rebellious towards
How about
are
you? Who else am I
more
gonna fuck with?
powerful or more rich.
Yeah.
Right? Who else am I going to fuck with, right?
keeps
That's
us
a
down.
misfit. That's it.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to pick on other people just because, right? What's the point of picking on people just to pick them?
Oh, you're just bored.
No, it's not that, right?
I got it.
It's the right thing. I mean, it's like on Trump, I just don't think he's a good president.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't run for president, I wouldn't fuck with him. I wouldn't care, right?
Yeah.
Now, we did have this back and forth like on Twitter. Like I don't golf, right? I've golfed once in my entire life.
Yeah.
It was customer golf, and I was like throwing clubs, all the bullshit, right? I'm like, that's a bad idea. And so he like tweets shit like, I saw him golf. He hits like a girl. I'm like, I don't fucking golf, right? You know, he does bullshit stuff and just lies his ass off. And so it's just easy to fuck with him. Yeah. And it's just fun to fuck with him. And the fact that he's running for president doesn't change any of that. I mean, that's just who he is. He lies his ass off all the time.
Do you want to be president?
No.
I'm dying for you to be president.
No, man.
2028, your kids are grown. Let's do it. What are we talking about?
No, never, man.
Okay, question. Do you have too many skeletons in your closet to be president?
No, I just don't want to put my kids through that shit, you know? I mean, they're 15, 18, and 21 now.
Yeah.
And you see all the shit
19,
that people
22,
get.
and 25 in 4 years.
Yeah,
I mean, they'll be grown.
Yeah, they're grown, but you still don't want to put your kids through all that.
You don't think Barron Trump and NYU is just mopping up Strange?
He probably is.
Closing deals.
He probably is.
At
Like,
NYU.
we had a family vote.
Right? That's what his dorm room sounds like. Just
You know,
There's a lot of
your
baby
kids are
oil
gonna be
right there.
fine. I was gonna say, I know what I'm just saying, your kids are gonna be good.
I hear you. No, but we had a family vote for real.
Really?
Yeah.
What
they
was the
all
number?
said no. It was 4-1. I was the one. Yeah.
Wait, they said yes, and you said
no.
no.
They said no. He got
I said
outvoted.
yes.
Okay, so you did have aspirations at one point.
I was curious, right? We had the conversation at the dinner table. Like, they don't want to have Secret Service around them all the time and all that stuff, right? That's not a life. You know, they don't want to have to deal with, you know, having somebody there all the time. So Barron may be getting it right, but there's some dude back there going,
Somebody got to listen to Barry Trump. He's reporting back. He goes, now he's still going. The kid got Oh, that's fair. I do think that is the selfless decision, of course, to look out for the family.
Plus, like, I just wouldn't be good at that shit, right? Just like all the ceremonial stuff you have to go through. And just, that's just not me. I'd be just like, fuck it, we're doing it this way. No, you got to go through Congress. It's just
that's the thing where I feel like it's difficult for business owners because it is a different skill, right? Like,
totally different.
Now,
your goal is to kind of to eliminate bureaucracy, and government is nothing but bureaucracy.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can say, okay, I'm going to cut back like Elon's done, right?
Yeah.
Talks about, and that's cool, right? I'm all for that, but you still got to follow all the rules. You can talk all you want about, oh, we're just going to cut this and cut that, but it don't work that way, you know?
But once you own a team, though, and then once you're in real estate, aren't you like a pseudo politician? Like, in order to get things done, don't you have to do the schmooze a little? Don't you?
I never did that shit.
Nothing?
That's why I got fined all the time. I didn't give a fuck.
But what about from the city, or when you're trying to get a new stadium built? When you're trying to,
they built it before, and I sold to a guy who will do it, right?
Yeah, he sold the
that's
team.
one of the reasons I sold most of the team because.
why did you sell it?
Because I'm just not good at that shit. To compete now with the new collective bargaining agreement, you see all these teams building real estate and casinos and all these big real estate empires. And I'm like, that's not me. I'm not into real estate. Like when it was tech and media, golden, right? That's my competency, yeah. But to go build shit and put up, $1 billion or $2 billion or have to borrow, no, man, that's not me, and that just doesn't fit me. And then going back to my kids, like, imagine you're 15, 18, and 21 now, and like in 10 years, it's like, okay, do I have to take over the family business?
it's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. And you see different teams where the kids just take over. It don't always work out. And those kids aren't always real happy. And particularly like when you're my kid, I mean, you know what it's like, right? People know who you are and they know your kids and they just have certain expectations. I want them to be themselves and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like if I don't do it, I'm not going to have fun or do shit I like to do.
Yeah.
Right? I get to do more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. You said something interesting about like the teams are building like casinos.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like I understood that was part of the idea behind the sale to, what was it, the Adelsons?
Yeah, the Adelsons, yeah.
And they own the Sands.
Yeah, they run Bally's, then they own Sands. They own Sands, run Sands corporations.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, but is that other teams are doing it? And this is just like a way to monetize the team in different...
Yeah, I mean, you've got Boston who's building a whole real estate thing. Sacramento did. Golden State did.
So the idea is you buy the area.
You buy all the land
around it.
Yeah, you build all the real estate up around it, and you make more money off the real estate than you do off the team.
Because
McDonald's model.
With Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is you can really develop an area, like any place where.
Yeah.
Because you know there's going to be a ton of people going all the time, so
That's
you put stuff
interesting.
all around.
You have restaurants around there, you have bars around there. That's okay. And is that just because they're trying to squeeze more money, or is that because with the new CBA, the owners have to pay out so much money?
It just costs more, right? There's the new TV deal that'll pay a bunch of it, right? But in order to, it's like an arms race, right? Because there's always new technology, there's always new stuff. Contracts are going up. You don't know what's going to happen to ticket prices. If something happens to media, right? Because media is all up and down. So even with the new TV deal, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever, things could be upside down. And so if you build all this shit, you got to cover it.
Guys, Life Tour, here are the remaining dates for the tour. We got Minneapolis, and we got Milwaukee. Then we got Denver, we had a third show. Cincinnati, we had a second show. Rama, Ontario. Salt Lake City, we had a second show. Reno, we had a second show. San Jose, we had a second show. Portland, and then we are wrapping it up December 21st, Honolulu, Hawaii. Announcements very soon about special filming. So very excited to share that with you guys. That should be maybe even as soon as next week. Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much, man. It's been the craziest tour of my life. Love y'all. DeAndrewSchultz.com for tickets. Let's get back to the show.
All right, guys, let's talk some shows. First of all, everybody in India Junior, which by which I mean New Jersey, I told you all these shows would sell out in advance, October 17th through 19th. We sold out all 5 shows a month in advance, but we decided to add another show. Thursday late show, I believe, as of now. Double check the website. Probably going to be 9:15, but get those tickets. Also, October 10th, Poughkeepsie. I'm doing a little one-night gig, trying to work some shit out. That should be fun. October 25th and 26th, Richmond, Virginia. November 1st and 2nd, Lexington. And also, quick announcement. I am going to be joining Fan Basis. It is a website where I'm going to get picks from bettors. Like professional gamblers are going to give me picks that you could use on stake, but you're going to get the picks from me who got them from somebody who knows way more than me. And more importantly, we're going to talk sports. So if you miss sports talk, like I do, let's just come chat a little bit. We'll do some live streams. We'll have some fun. We'll talk some shit. We'll form a little community. I think Akash Bets is the Instagram, but either way, I'm very excited about this. Hopefully we make y'all money. We'll definitely help you lose less. You can't gamble for shit on your own, but check that out if you can. Either way, I love you guys. Let's get back to the show.
New York City, Stamford, Connecticut, Pottstown, PA. That's right. I am coming to all of those cities. I got shows coming up in the next couple months. New York City, tonight, October 2nd, Mary Lou. I'm doing a monthly show that'll become a weekly show. It's the hottest show in New York City. Amazing food, amazing drinks, the best comics in New York. A lot of times guests that come on the show, they'll probably end up there on the Wednesday night. Check it out in my Instagram description. You can get links right there. Stamford, Connecticut on November 13th, and then Pottstown, PA on November 8th. I'm sure you're wondering, Mark, why are you talking right now? You're not on this episode. You're not even here. That's right. I'm not here. I'm in the woods, all right? I'm deep in the woods, my tent. But I have really exciting news to tell you guys. That's why I'm not on this episode. I'm so excited to tell everyone what's going on. It's going to be really, really cool. But we'll talk about that in a couple weeks. Let's get back to the show.
So to that point, you got out of Yahoo. You made your money getting out of Yahoo before the bubble burst.
Right.
Is that part of the rationale behind selling the team now before the bubble burst?
No, no, I promise you. No.
Deal is done. Deal is done.
Sell!
No.
I mean, how much higher can the TV money go? That's like a question I have.
There's that. I'm sure this is a fabricated story, but was it J.P. Morgan or something? People have ascribed it to a bunch of different people, but like the guy who was shining his shoes was telling him what stocks he was buying. Yeah. And then this is in like 1929, and he went back to the office. He's like, sell everything. There's nobody left to buy.
Right, because the shoe shiner, yeah.
So the second
that
you
was
start
like
selling?
in 2000. That was the thing, right?
Yeah.
But no, not now. No. It's just like if I was 20 years younger, it'd be a different story. Because then I'd have time to learn, and I didn't have the kids and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just, I want to spend time with my fucking kids.
Yeah.
Right? They're at that age now where that's why I left Shark Tank, because we shoot Shark Tank in June and September. And that's right when they're getting out of school and going back to school. 2 of my kids' birthdays are in September. Yeah. And so it's like I was missing that shit. Yeah. And so now it's just like, leave us alone, Dad. We know. My son, 15, he goes, I need to breathe, Dad. I need to breathe,
You know what's fascinating is no matter how cool or rich you are, your kids are still going to be like, go away,
Dad.
dude.
Yeah,
Jesus,
fuck you, Dad. Yeah. So that's just like, you can't get that back.
Yeah.
You cannot get that back.
Yeah.
The rejection.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The rejection. It's insane.
What about the Yeah, this is a random question, but like, how many of the deals on Shark Tank do you guys actually like end up going in business with?
Probably for me, for the first 12 years, for me, it was like 70%.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So after they present, you offer them
Whatever, and they say yes. Then we do due diligence, right? So you get to go through
to make sure that they're telling the truth.
Right. So like 30, 40%, give or take, are full of shit. Right. We don't have any debt. Well, you have 200,000 on your credit card. Oh, no, it's credit card. It's not real debt, right? Just bullshit stuff, you know.
They can get it past those
it
guys,
cost us, it cost us $1 to make this widget. Then you go in and look. Wait, it cost you $5. Well, if we make 1 million of them, because we think, it's just bullshit, and so they don't close for that reason. But now the show's gotten so big, people have like watched all the episodes and figured it all out. So they figured the game out. And so now they go in and say all the right things. Yeah. And then they don't even do the due diligence, right? They're like, fuck it, I don't care. I don't need the investment.
They're going on for the promo of
It's
the
an
show.
advertisement.
Yeah. Yes.
There's multiple products I've looked up. People didn't buy, no, but none of you guys invested, but that looks good. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah,
online.
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Is there anything that you made insane money on?
From Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Have you all heard of Dude Wipes?
Yeah, we have them
really?
here.
Yeah. Dude Wipes killed it.
That was your biggest?
No, have you heard of Beatbox Beverages?
Yeah.
That one has
Yes,
not.
bigly.
Yeah, no, it's big on college campuses and killing it, right? So I gave them $1 million for 33% of the company, and I've been diluted now, but they just did a fundraising at $200 million.
Wow.
Beatbox Beverage will do, Dude Wipes will do $150 million in revenue this year. I think I gave them $250,000 for 20% of the company. Wow. And they're worth, a couple $100 million now. Wow. So no, I'm good. I'm straight. Now I haven't turned that into cash, but yeah, on a valuation basis, I'm good.
What is the most money you've lost on something? Because
That's a
everybody
great
knows
question.
your successes.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I lost, I had this company, Motion Loft, and the guy, stole money from it and ended up going to jail. And I think I lost 15 mil on that deal.
Wow. You put 15 mil cash.
Yeah, it was over a period of time. Yeah.
15 mil. And that's the most you've ever lost.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Why am I like, that's not that much?
Oh, it's a lot.
No, but I'm saying
No,
for
I know
you,
what you're
for
saying.
me,
Yeah.
someone's dying.
Yeah, right? No.
But for you.
No, it's a lot, but that's probably the most. No, it's probably I had one for $8 million. The ones where I've really gotten killed, somebody fucked up bad.
Someone stole?
Yeah, someone stole.
There was corruption within the company.
Yeah.
Was there ever something where because I think you've been good in terms of there's two I have time periods of tech, I feel. Maybe there's multiple and I'm not being nuanced enough, but there's the initial one,
right,
which you cashed in on right before the
internet,
bubble.
yeah,
the internet.
Yeah.
And then there is the app.
Yeah, the internet, apps, AI.
Oh, AI, and then the AI is the third.
Yeah.
Your first wave. Mm-hmm. Are you and your other cohorts that are first wave, do you look at these next people as the young Rugrats trying to make it? Is that the
kind of?
Do they see you as the OGs?
Yeah,
or is there
all the time? Yeah, no,
okay.
But to me that's motivation. So if the businesses I'm in, it's like cosplusdrugs.com, whatever. I'm like, okay, I used to be the young dude walking in the room. Now I'm the old dude walking in the room. And I'm gonna prove to you I'm gonna kick your ass.
Is there anything about this young group of Silicon Valley people that you're frustrated with? There was a guy on Shark Tank. I forget his name.
No, because I never really cared about Silicon Valley, right? A lot of shit got done there. Don't get me wrong, but that was never where I like to work. To me, it was, the tech bros and everything. Yeah, they had their own draw. I like Silicon Alley, right? That here in New York, that was better. What was going on in Dallas was better. Chicago, because there's normal people. The people in the Valley just have this, we're the shit. We're. But
you didn't need the developers. You didn't need the brains.
No. There's plenty of brains elsewhere, and it was cheaper and easier and better. We did. Cost. Every company I've done has been out of Dallas.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the pharmaceutical one.
From broadcast.com to HDNet to, costplusdrugs.com, you name it.
The cost plus drugs thing is interesting because you'd figure that you would have been suicided by now.
Yeah.
For trying to go at the pharmaceutical companies. Yeah. Why is that not happening?
Don't give them ideas.
Listen, you don't think
I promise
I'm really high profile, right? I'm not some dude that's just hiding in the corner.
If they kill you, then it's obvious.
Yeah, everybody knows what's going on, right? And they'll talk shit about me, and that's cool. But, if a company that does $100 billion in sales is talking about me and my little company that just started 2 years ago, basically, you're fucking with them, and they're fucked up. And that's what's been happening. And
so what's the idea of the company?
So it's really simple. So if you ever got a prescription, right? Yep. The doctor says, okay, you need X, and what pharmacy do you use? They don't say, can you afford it?
Yeah, they don't
Here's
tell you
the
the cost.
cost. No, nothing, right?
You find out at the pharmacy.
You find out at the pharmacy or through your insurance company or whoever pays your copay or whatever. And so we said, look, it's an opaque market. There's no transparency whatsoever. And because of that, people get ripped off. Patients get ripped off. Insurance companies rip off companies. I mean, it's just really fucked up. So we said, okay, we're going to create this website, costplusdrugs.com. You go in there and you put in the name of the drug, Tadalafil, right? And I wanted to see if you guys picked up on that. No, I know, right? You gotta put that out there. So now I know what we're talking about, right?
Wait, which one is the one that it pops up whenever? That's sildenafil?
No, sildenafil, right?
One is the boner, like whenever you need it, and the other is boner now.
One is Cialis and one is Viagra.
Yes, which one is Cialis?
Cialis is Tadalafil.
Tadalafil.
Right, and yes,
that's your thing. Because you don't know when you're going to fuck, but you want to be ready.
Let me just tell you this, right? Let me just tell you this. If you go to costplusdrugs.com, costplusdrugs.com, and you put in Tadalafil, right? TAD whatever, and it comes up.
It does come up, doesn't it?
You can get 90 of them. 90 of them for about $9.90.
Wow, 10 cents a boner.
Less than M&Ms, right?
That is crazy.
It's crazy. So you have a choice. You could put a little jar of M&Ms next to your bed, or you could put a little jar of Tadalafil, Sildenafil, whatever it is, next to your bed too, right?
Yeah.
The dude abides.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer.
Right?
This is,
for real.
I guess you can only do this with drugs that are, what is it called when they're now in the open market?
Generics,
Generics,
So we've got a bunch of generics. We've got brands too, but more generics, right?
Yeah.
But we can get the price really low on the generics. Right?
Because drugs have like a time.
Yeah, you get them for 20 years. And
okay, so that 20 years includes all the research too, right?
Right, yeah.
So you research and develop the drug. Maybe you have like a 5-year window where you can really make your money. And then after that, generics pop up.
Opens up, right? So it goes from $40 a pill down to 10 cents a pill or whatever now.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
y'all
it's
gonna
great.
clean up when Olympics time windows up.
For sure. But even like we have like 10% of the market. We've only been shipping for 2.5 years.
Wow.
And for the boner
10%
pills,
is massive.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not as big as this should be.
No, because that's why I'm out there talking about it. Because remember, we've only been around 2.5 years, and you get hymns and all that stuff promoting, but they're just expensive compared to ours. So you just go to the doctor and you say, send the prescription to Mark Cuban Cost Plus Drugs, and it shows up in his little system, and he says, 30, 60, 90, 360, whatever you need, and then you see the price, and we put it against your credit card, and it's easy peasy.
Yeah,
but I'm glad I can help you all out.
Blue Chew, though, very affordable.
Blue Chew is awesome. They're amazing. Shout out to Blue Chew. What you need is a Blue Chew. You definitely need
First
Blue
month
Chew.
free, $5 shipping. That's all you got to do.
The best boners. The best boners ever.
But if you're not into chewing,
we love chewing, and we love blue chewing, and the best boners. And all that. Guys, if you didn't already know, I would like to remind you, look at the lighting around us, okay? Best boners in the business are from Blue Chew, okay? I know that for a fact. That sounds crazy to say, but I do know it. And you're going to get your first month of those boners for free. All you got to do is use the promo code FLAGRANT. BlueChew.com. You got to pay $5 shipping. That's nothing for the best dick you've ever given in your entire life. Also, our friends at Blue Chew have something exciting coming very soon. It's an exclusive, very limited edition merch collab with none other than Antisocial Social Club. And for the record, I've seen them. Designs go hard. They are going on sale October 12th at 8 a.m. Pacific, and they will sell out. Mark your calendars. Go to antisocialsocialclub.com and be the first to snag one of these incredible designs. Now let's get back to the show. Are you on a statin?
Yeah, I don't have one, but yeah.
Do you take statin?
No, I don't need to.
Nothing?
No.
You didn't mean to tell me you don't need to.
I got to
here. My heart half works. Like,
yeah, I got to take Synthroid for a thyroid.
Okay, you got a thyroid thing.
That's
all
right.
Let's
talk about that on.
Wait, what else are you on? You got to be on some longevity shit. All these billionaires want to live forever.
No, man.
There's no longevity things you do?
Cap.
Come on, bro.
Bullshit.
Nah.
So like I take the Synthroid and I take a baby aspirin in the morning, drink some water with it.
Yeah.
You know, when you get up to pee, that's when I take it.
Yeah.
And then
We didn't need all that.
you want the facts, right? You want the facts, right? You want the
Just
facts.
imagine you fucking
And then, you know, I try to go work out. And so I take this cardio fitness class, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'll drink this LMNT that's got some sodium in it. And I put a little honey in that. And that gives me, you know,
So you're not on the peptides. You're not doing any of this good stuff that all these longevity
like if I saw some
experts are
studies
pushing?
that said they worked.
What about Atia? That guy.
Yeah, I subscribe to his stuff, and he's like, but at the end of the day, he just busts his ass and works out a lot and watches what he eats. And,
Yeah.
you know, so like I use this app called MyFitnessPal, so I write down everything I eat.
Yeah.
You know, so I had some caramel popcorn because I was starving on the way over. And so I say 120 calories, caramel popcorn, put it in there. So as long as I just like watch what I eat and just work out, then I'm cool. Yeah. Yeah.
You work out a lot though, right?
I
You're like
try
an
to.
hour a day.
Yeah, I try to get my hour in.
Yeah.
Damn, man. I thought you were going to have like some cool
I wish I did.
Iron
like if
Man
you,
shit that I could
wish
learn
I
about.
did. Like I've tried creatine, but then I look like a Pillsbury Doughboy. Because,
Oh, really changed your head?
Yeah, because you just hold water, right? And that
Yeah.
you just get bigger. I get stronger, right? But you just blows up. Like everything blows up.
Yeah.
And so I was just, what else have I tried?
You on a test?
What about
you
Yeah, what
got
about
a little
testosterone?
Low teeth?
No. Like I would do HGH if there was something that said it was legal and it worked, but
I would do that shit in a heartbeat.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
Heartbeat.
Because it seems like really good when you look at the fighters that use
like
it.
at the Mavs, I did
I
a
probably
test.
needed it at 13. I'd be 5'9" at least. I think I'd be 5'9" at least.
Messi used it. Yeah, that's what Messi
No, I
used.
need it now more than ever. They're
That's what Messi
5'6".
used when he was.
He really did. They put him on that.
Yeah.
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 So
That
they
could've been me,
created like
dude.
a super athlete.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that why you got the Euros? Because you can start pumping them full of it.
Shoot him up.
Dude. Oh, here's a good one. You guys could have got, and there's so many of these couldas with the NBA teams, but you could have got Giannis.
Don't bring that up.
Yeah.
Don't bring that
Is
up.
that a hard one?
Yeah, yes and no, right? So this was 2013, I think, when he came out.
What was it?
12 or 13?
Yeah, 2012 or 13, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. So and you had the what? What pick was it? You had
No, we had like
13?
number 13, like right outside the lottery, but we also had cap room. And we had Dirk, and Dirk was 34, give
Yeah.
or take. And we're like, okay, this is like Dirk's end games, right?
Yep.
And so I wanted to try to get a free agent so that we could cook. It's, you know, we
give him
had,
one more shot.
Yeah, at least, right? And so I remember like looking at the tapes of Giannis, and all we had were 2 VHS tapes of him playing in the shitty little Greek league.
Yeah.
You know, he got drafted, what, 13, 14, 15?
Yeah. But the
somewhere-
GM at the time was high on him, right?
No, very much so. But
Carlisle was a Virginia boy, so he liked Larkin, and there was something.
no, it wasn't
there.
even that. It was just Shane was cool, and we all liked him, but we just traded down just to save money for cap room.
Yeah. If Giannis lasted to that pick, they'd have picked
Yeah, we would have picked him. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
went 15th.
Giannis went
He went
15th,
15th, and we had
you guys had
18.
13.
Well, they had 13
Traded
traded
down.
backs to save
Traded
money.
down.
Yeah.
And so there's 14 other teams that passed on him too.
Of course, but
Yeah.
they're not sitting right here.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? But I mean, listen, you guys did okay.
It turned out all right.
Yeah, everything
But
kind
if
of
we had
worked
gotten
out.
Giannis, we wouldn't have gotten Luka. Luka's now younger.
Yeah,
Yo,
He's a
okay,
beast.
okay.
Yeah,
Here,
he's a
let's
beast.
rile up NBA Twitter. Luka or Dirk?
Well, Luka's a better player.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
Luka's a better. I
Dirk
love
said
Dirk to
that
death.
like his rookie year. Dirk was
Yeah.
like, this kid's better than I'll ever be.
Dirk is amazing. He's the all-time best Mav.
Yeah.
Just because we've won a championship with him and who he is and what he
Yeah.
did for the organization. But Luka can bring the ball up. Dirk, you needed to get him the ball.
Yeah.
You know, and then he could go and do what he needed to do.
Yeah.
With Luka, you just inbound the ball to him and he just does the rest. He's insane.
Yeah, he is insane. But if you had to pick one,
Like if I had to start a team, I'd start it with Luka. Then my second pick would be Dirk, of course, but yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've said that to Dirk.
What does he say?
He punched me.
I mean, you know, Dirk is just
Dirk is a badass dude.
Oh, dude.
He is such a good guy. Such a good guy. But I
Yeah.
am 1-0 against him in one-on-one.
Wait, how did you beat him in one-on-one?
So
It was
when I
contract
first-
year.
No, it was at Till Dana.
Yeah.
My first year when I first bought the team,
You popped a couple Till Dana films. He said,
he got
"Guard
right
me."
to the wall.
Post up on this.
Okay. No, literally. So we were like I just bought the team, and I was out there shooting with the guys, and I was like, let's play 1-on-1. And so I get the ball out first, and he's not really guarding me, but he's just, you know, and like hit a jumper.
Hoist.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. And he like fake layup. Next one blocks the shit out of it. His ball. I'm up 2-0.
Yeah.
Goes by me. Bam on my head. I'm like, I quit. So 2-1, I win.
Okay.
I could ask you so many questions about basketball. I remember being in Dallas when you bought the team. We didn't really know who you were. This billionaire's buying the team. There weren't that many billionaires back then. And the Mavs were historically bad in the
Awful.
90s. As soon as you buy them, within a month, they almost made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Next year, they made the playoffs, what, 12, 15 straight years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Did you do anything right when you got there? What was it about your arrival? Was
I
it
just walked in the door and I
timing?
said, shit's going to change. You know, we're going to try to win or you're gone. If you're not into just working your ass off and winning, you're not going to stick around. So tell me now. And I upgraded stuff like
Yeah, I remember all this.
The first meeting I had with the team, there was a guy on the team named Gary Trent, and Gary Trent Jr. is his son. And he goes, Mark, we go to places like Oakland, California. We get there at 2 a.m, and we stay at these shitty hotels that don't have room service. So now we're walking through Oakland, California, looking for a 7-Eleven to get something to eat. I'm like, no, that's not right. So we upgraded the Four Seasons, upgraded the plane, did all this shit.
I remember you upgraded the locker room. That was like a big news story.
Yeah. And so it was, okay, I'm doing my part.
So you guys better step up.
Yeah. And so we brought in like coaches, player development coaches. Like back then, there were 4 coaches. There was the head coach, few assistant coaches. And when the guys wanted to work on their skills, you brought in one of the assistant coaches. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. We literally spent more money on training on PCs than we did for player development.
Wow.
So I'm like, I told our coach, Nelly, I'm like, go find some former Mavs, get 15 of them, one for everybody. And literally, that's what we did. And so now every team has got player development coaches out the ass. And that was all because back then we sucked so bad. And I had to send the message, we're going to play to win.
Speaking of the NBA, obviously, you know, this NBA season, Knicks guaranteed to win a championship with the new addition, Big Purr.
Now you actually look good. Yeah, I think it's a good trade.
That's what I'm saying.
I hate to say it. I hate to say it.
Shout out A-Rod, still working for us.
Yeah.
Once a Yankee, always a Yankee.
Yeah.
So A-Rod owns the Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves, yeah.
And he made sure that trade went through.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Shout out the Timberwolves for being broke. We appreciate y'all, you know, for not having enough money to keep your players. And no, we got a nice little situation going.
You do. I hate to admit it.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're gambling, obviously you're going to do it with Stake. Stake has got your back. They are the sponsor of this podcast, so that's the one that we're rocking with, okay? And we know we're putting the house on the Knicks. We are putting the house on I don't even believe that. I don't even believe that as I'm saying it. I am not betting shit on the Knicks. I got to see this chemistry first.
I'll put a rent-controlled apartment on the Knicks, maybe, at best.
Shit. Like a month.
Yeah.
A month of rent.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Rent control apartment in New York. It's a valuable asset right there. Anyway, what are you thinking? What do you think of this season? Are we just gonna go with who's gonna win the NBA championship right now?
Okay, I'm down for that.
Okay, what would you say?
The Celtics still look fucking good, but the team that's best built to beat them is probably the Knicks. I don't know if the Knicks could win it all.
I don't think the Celtics could win with what's it called? Jaylen Brown's new sneakers. Like he started his own sneaker company.
Oh yeah, that's never a good move.
Which is never a good move.
No, it's never a winning move.
Yeah, and you know, shout out to Jaylen Brown. He's an incredibly talented player.
I hate this.
Really,
I think y'all could make it out of the East very easily.
Yeah, I think we're definitely making it out of the East.
Chris Middleton is hurt, so the Bucks are done.
Yeah. I wasn't even worried about the Bucks in the first place.
Boston, that's the only real threat. Miami's not going to do it.
You can't start your own sneaker company. Can we gamble on that? How did we gamble on that if the sneaker company is
going to blow up like one of Zion's? Like them Air Zions?
Exactly.
Dog, I hate this. I think y'all might make it to the finals.
Yo, I think Zion sneakers were made by the Israeli Defense Force. I think
the Air Hezbollah.
I think they got them sneakers at the same place they got those pagers. I think that's what happens. Anyway, so Stake, you're putting your money up at Stake. This segment is brought to you by Stake, the leader in global betting and U.S. social casinos. Bet on top sports and political events. Use the promo code FLAGRANT for your welcome bonus. Now we got to get back to the show. Is there like ever a PR machine behind what you do, or do you just try to make the splash as big as possible and then the conversation begins?
I just try to do what's right, because like because like back then, particularly, there was just a bunch of old motherfuckers that owned teams. You know, they inherited them or won them in a poker game. And anytime I spent money, they would be pissed at me. I remember one time I was in a board of governors meeting, and the owner of one of the teams, I won't name drop.
I'll guess.
Yeah, he's dead now. But
Sterling.
Yeah.
That's all.
We want to hear about that combo.
Yeah, correct.
But anyway, this guy said,
You let them take pictures with your wife?
Shelly. No. But anyways, this dude says to me, "You motherfuckers, sit down and shut the fuck up. We're sick of hearing about you. Until you do something in the NBA, just sit down and shut the fuck up." And then I'm like, "Okay, Abe." His name wasn't Abe. I got the name wrong, but you know. Yeah, so I mean, they just fucked with me the whole time. But David Stern, to his credit, even though he would fine me all the time, it was okay. You're helping the league. You're doing stuff. You're getting things rolling. I was kind of like the tech guy.
You were very much a disruptor.
Oh, for sure. I just didn't care. I just wanted to do what I thought was right. Like now.
Yeah. Democratic shill, dude. I knew it.
Yeah, right. I'm not even a Democrat. I don't know why people say that shit. I'm not even
boy, talk that. No.
Who would you? So I heard you say this. I like to think I'm independent. I believe you're truly independent.
Yeah.
You said if there was a non-MAGA Republican in 2020, you would have voted for them.
Yeah.
Who do you see on that side that you're like, I would like for them to be president?
I like Nikki Haley. I voted for her in the primary.
Wow.
I like Chris Christie because he talks shit and doesn't give a shit. I wasn't into DeSantis. And I know Vivek now, but
I think he's great.
Yeah, I think he's just a Trump with a better vocabulary.
He's got a great vocabulary.
He's got a great vocabulary. He's really
hates
smart.
Bureaucracy. He's very smart.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate about Vivek is that he knows what he's suggesting is radical, and he's like, that this is a government of the people, and we deserve the situation we put ourselves in.
So, like, I did a podcast with him,
Yeah, I
and
saw
so
that.
went
That
back
was
and forth.
great.
And when he suggests it, it's one thing to suggest it, but it's not problem solving. You can say, I'm going to cut out the Department of Education.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. Well, we didn't have a Department of Education in 1817, and it wasn't meant to be this big.
Yeah.
But we are where we are.
Yeah.
And if you're going to fix something, if you want it better, you have to be able to go from where you are to where you want to get to. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to change education, where you are, okay, let's talk about how you're going to get there. You want to cut the size of government? Great. I want to cut the size of government and make it more efficient. Let's talk about AI as a service. How can we use AI to speed up different functions that the government does now, so it's not just a bunch of people sitting at desks? There's a million ways to do it. And that's the shit I can talk to the Harris campaign about. When I talk to, Vivek or whoever, Republicans, they're not talking about that shit.
So can you explain to just a regular person like myself, when people talk about how bloated government is, how does that happen? And then what would you do to, contract it? So
it's a great question. So it happens a couple different ways. Congress passes different programs, and they put together these programs, and then they assign money to it, and then they get implemented.
Well-intentioned programs?
Yeah, well-intentioned.
Or are they being lobbied to...
All the above.
Okay.
So maybe not all, some might be a bridge to nowhere type thing.
Got it.
But for the most part, they're well-intentioned. They had a program in mind. They had somebody, a constituency they were trying to help, and then they implement them. And then that's one program. And then there's another program over here.
Oh, and
then there's another program over there.
They're defined by how many of these things they pass.
Well, it's not even that. It's just they all had good intentions, but over 40 years,
they don't go away.
They don't go away. There's 40 different programs. And so then you have to have people who manage the people, then interconnect them, that deal with the output of them.
This is interesting.
So rather than you can't just say cut them all, because
and the more programs you have, the more people it takes to make sure that they're interconnected.
They all work together and track all the money and do all the stuff and get the money there, get the money out, pay for it, talk about it, do the budget for it. But you can't just say, you're gone, because there's contracts and shit. And there's companies that literally are run by hardworking American entrepreneurs that have contracts with those organizations, those projects. And so when you're just saying, okay, I'm just cutting the entire Department of Education.
Yeah,
But if you say, okay, we're going to walk in and we're going to use technology, and we're going to say, this program here, we're going to make you more efficient, so when someone retires or dies, or you don't have
You don't
to
need to replace that position.
But if the goal is to help kids, it's a school lunch program, and it's to help kids. We don't want the kids to get less because this whole thing gets cut, because what Vivek would say is, we're just going to cut it and send the money to the states. But then the states do the same shit.
They also have their program.
Yeah, they do the exact
and
same
they're gonna
thing.
have the same bloating.
The same problem, the same, but then it's on them. What I say is, okay, the goal is to get the kids fed. If we can find a better way to, sunset this program, but make sure those kids are in a better position, because it may even be better just to write them all checks. Or give the parents check and make it cheaper. You don't know, but the goal is find a solution, fix a problem.
Here, it seems like what you're describing could be like a 10 or 20 year turnaround for a lot of these programs. How do you make sure that 5 administrations potentially continue it?
That's the problem. That's part of the issue. The Democrats have their programs, the Republicans have their programs, and that's where you hope like an independent who's not part of that. Like if it were up to me, I would love both parties to just get the fuck out. What the fuck do we need them for?
Yeah.
They're there to raise money and to create problems. And now Trump, there is no real Republican Party. That's like the family business. Trump runs it. And Kamala is doing the same thing on the Democratic side. It's not like you hear anything from Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren anymore. They're out in the shitter, you know? And Kamala learned from Trump. Literally, she learned from Trump. She's like, Donald took over this program. I'm going to do the same thing with the Democrats. And this is what I care about. This is what I'm going to do. Doesn't matter what Bernie or Elizabeth or those guys want to do. So you're not seeing her.
There's not dissenting voices even within the party.
No, it's just like you don't on Trump, right? You don't.
Everybody falls in line on both sides.
Because that's what it takes now. It's more about the personality and who's going out there getting votes than it is about the programs.
Yeah, that popularity contest. We fall in love with these like demigods, and we're voting for their. We're not voting for the substance of their platform or anything. We're just voting for a last name.
You talk to Donald Trump. What substance have you ever heard from him?
He's fun. He's fun.
Yes,
that's what everybody.
Yes,
he's fun.
But tell me, like, what is one thing? Give me.
But Clinton was fun too. He played saxophone.
He played saxophone.
Like
That's cool.
Like, we
know how to use his office.
Abraham Lincoln was fun.
He knew how to make room under his desk. No one did it better.
What's up to Gallifin?
I know Bill.
Have you met Bill? Great guy, right?
Great guy.
You get why they were sucking on him.
Yo, my God. I watched a basketball game. I watched an NBA Finals game. Me, my buddy, and Bill Clinton and some of his friends. And the dude, like a Mavs game, I'll yell at the TV. Other games, I don't care. I'll just watch and enjoy. He was smoking a cigar, yelling at the TV the entire game. I'm like, let's go. He was
imagining it was Hillary, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyways.
But good guy, right?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
Everybody loves Bill.
Bill's a beast. Yeah, and he's smart as fuck, too, right?
Yeah.
When you talk to him about any topic, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. And great communicator. I've noticed like a lot of times he communicates through story. You know, like it's effortless. Like, well, what do you think about the environment? One time in Arkansas, and all of a sudden you're kind of caught up in this thing that at the end of the story kind of proves his point about how we should handle the environment.
Yeah. And, for better or worse, I mean, even Kamala doesn't do a good job of that.
Yeah,
she needs she needs a wind up to get into her stories. Trump just, talks whatever, right? He has his go-to sayings, I was the biggest, the best, this is the best ever, whatever. He just always goes, and that's kind of his protected place.
Yeah.
So he goes into his catchphrases, and that's where he just builds off of.
Do you want a catchphrase? Be honest. Do you want one from him?
From him?
Yeah.
Like what?
I don't know, but would it be like a flattering thing that you got a catchphrase from Trump?
He's fucked with me. But no, what did he say? He did say like, oh my God, when we did this MMA thing, and I couldn't find it. Someone had sent it to me and I couldn't find it. We did this MMA thing back in 2007 where I had a TV network, HDNet, and we put on MMA fights. And he did something with the Russians, this guy named Fedor. And
Emelianenko?
Emelianenko, who at the time was like, badass, right? And I did vodka shots with the dude, man. He could put it, and then Josh, not Lambert, what the fuck was Barrett. But in any event, so the fight, for a lot of reasons, didn't ever happen. But he said, I'm doing this with Mark Cuban because everything he touches turns to gold. And so he gave it to me. And I said nice things about him because there was why not, right?
Yeah.
but shit changes over time.
So
As you got to know him, you felt he was.
I don't have a problem with him as a person. Like you were just talking about Bill Clinton, telling a story, get to the point, and you knew what the point was.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that happen with Donald Trump?
When he starts a story, he gets the end of it?
Where you understand, he said, that was nuanced. That really, he had some in-depth understanding.
No, but like, there are some people that are funny when they're not trying to be funny. And he is one of them.
And that's exactly what we want for president, right?
No. Here's the thing. You're assuming that we make the best decisions when it comes to electing people, right? And I think we elect people emotionally. And I know it's absurd to be like, this guy's funny.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
But it was absurd that we saw Bill Clinton play saxophone shitty on Arsenio Hall, and we were like, this guy's cool, right? Like, that's also an absurd thing. But it worked, you know? And so I think most Americans really kind of know nothing about the laws that are being passed. They're worried about, obviously, their communities, and they want to vote for someone who makes them feel like their, concerns are going to be considered.
Or it's just a fuck you.
Dude.
Yeah.
I think the majority of people might vote as a fuck you to the other party.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if you just sit right here and you go, I'm a Democrat, half of the country goes, that guy's fucking on it. And the other half goes, fuck them.
you. Yeah, you're out.
And which is interesting because I imagine it's kind of vulnerable as a politician when you want to speak the truth, but you know that people don't really like you. They like you as a representative of the party. You're almost like an actor who plays a popular character on a show. They don't really like the man.
I had someone say that to me yesterday. Look, he's an idiot, but I'm a Republican.
Wait, meaning
Trump.
Trump is an idiot, but
I'm a Republican.
So I got to vote for the guy.
I'm voting for
And
him.
to your earlier point, I think there were people in 2016 that was like, I don't care about him, but I love how much Democrats hate him.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
you'd spoken about this before. They had felt so like maligned for years.
Yeah, like,
they felt made fun of and teased. They're like, finally, somebody is punching
giving
back.
it back to them. Fuck them.
And I get that. I get that for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, right? But, and I can see how you picked Donald Trump to be that. But, oh my God, we're talking about the presidency.
Yeah.
So giving you an opportunity to speak on some stuff you mentioned, what would you say to a Trump supporter who's like, the country was better off under Trump than it was under Biden? Those 4 years with Biden, everything got worse. 4 years Trump had it. Things stayed the same or got better, even if he inherited something good from Obama.
It's not the truth, but I understand why they say that.
I'm going you to dispel these things.
I mean, I can tell you, no wars. There was a war in Yemen where hundreds of thousands of people died, or at least 100,000 plus people died, and he had a chance to say, no, we're going to get out. He said, yes, we're going to keep on selling weapons to Saudi Arabia. So when he says no wars, that's bullshit. You know, when he says he's pro-military, there were 200 soldiers that got bombed to shit, and I forget if it was Iraq or Syria, and a bunch of them had traumatic brain injuries. He came out and said there were headaches. You know, when Puerto Rico got hit with a hurricane, he held back.
That was funny with the toilet paper.
No, it was funny when he finally got down there. But still, he held back money.
Aid. Okay.
He withheld aid. When a hurricane was sweeping through the southeast, he redrew a fucking map to make it look like it was going to go through Alabama. You know, and inflation. So there was a point in time, because I was just reading about this, in 2020, right as the pandemic was starting. And because there was a lot of the demand for oil and gas was falling, Russia and Saudi Arabia got into a price war on oil. And the price of gas just plummeted. And a bunch of the people in the oil industry went to Donald Trump and said, you know MBS at Saudi Arabia, you know Putin, for better or worse, get them together.
And let's make this.
And let's reduce production so the price of oil goes up. Now, here's the bargain. Do you save the oil companies, or do you motherfucking save all the people who are suffering from the pandemic and want to pay less for gas? And so when and if you track it, the reduction in production of oil, they pulled back so much so that the price went up. And then over time, over the following 2 years, so that was from early 2020 to late 2022, they increased production. And when you increase production, the price of gas goes back down some. So when they were reducing production, the price of gas went like this. And that was the start of inflation. Because just like he says all the time, drill because that'll reduce the prices of everything else.
Yeah.
Well, he literally caused the prices of everything else to start going up. So by the time he left,
the price of oil is expensive. The shipping is more expensive.
Everything is
it's
more
trickle down effect from oil.
Right. And so it went from, he made the choice. I pay my boys that run these oil companies, or I keep the price of oil and gas low, so our gas prices for everybody else.
Now, question about...
I can keep on going.
No.
This is why I'm asking you for specifics, because I'm listening to all these, we're doing research, I'm listening to all these things, and you just keep having great answers for everything. But then I start to go, is he right, or is he just really fucking good at debating? And that's why I'm asking you for specifics, because I think a lot of people might be like, yeah, he sounds right, but he's just so smart. I don't know if he's actually right.
Who, Trump?
You.
Oh, me?
When you're talking about anti-Trump this, anti-Trump that.
Oh, no, I'm just giving you, look, I'm not the expert in all this shit, and somebody can tell me I'm wrong, that's fine, I'll learn from it. But you don't see Donald Trump admitting to anything. Nothing. When was the one time he ever said I'm wrong? When was the one time he said, okay, let me figure this out. Let me give you some details.
Maybe that's why I like him, because he's like my wife.
Bingo, there you go. Right?
Yeah.
Why are you throwing her under the bus? What are we talking about?
What makes you love me?
No, break down tariffs, because from his side, he says, oh, I'm just hard on China. I'm hard on all
dumbest shit ever. Okay.
All right.
So let's talk tariffs, right? There's two types of tariffs. There's strategic tariffs and there's across the board tariffs.
Right.
Strategic tariffs are you're Japan or you're China and you own part of the steel company in your country. China is an owner.
It's a nationalized company.
It's a nationalized company. Yeah. So they can say, we're going to undercut the price of steel made by U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we're going to ship it in at a really reduced price so that we could take business away from U.S. Steel. Their business shrinks. And now if the United States of America...
at a loss to the company that's in China, but because it's nationalized, it's at a loss to the government. They don't care. They take away our market share.
Bing, bing,
now
bing,
we're
bing,
fucked
bing,
up.
bing, bing,
you
bing.
put a tariff on them so that they don't attack. That's warfare.
Right.
There.
So it's that way. You put a tariff on them, then U.S. companies will be like, well, it's still more expensive to go to them. So
it's not affecting us.
It has to be strategic because U.S. Steel, if we can't make steel in this country, if something happens with the military, then we're fucked. So it makes perfect sense. Those are the tariffs that Biden kept in place. Those types of strategic.
Because they protect us geopolitically. They also protect the businesses, but they don't allow another country to get some sort of advantage on us in an incredibly important marketplace for our protection.
Bingo.
Got it. Okay, now the other version.
The other are across-the-board tariffs, where Trump says, fuck you, China. I'm adding 10% or 20% or 60% tariffs. He never says which is which, right? He just says I'm adding tariffs. So Walmart imports 80% of their products. And so Walmart is buying from China, paying in dollars and saying, I'm paying $1 for that widget.
Sure.
And that dollar comes in and it's $1 right now and that's it. Walmart marks it up and sells the widget at Walmart. Tariffs, it comes in, it gets to the United States. When it comes across the border, there's a 10% tariffs. The Border Patrol says, there's a 10% tariff on it. Walmart, you have to pay 10% of that dollar. You have to pay me a dime for every one of these widgets that come in. Walmart has a choice. They can either eat that dime or they pass it on. Now imagine, then he goes to John Deere and he says, if you're thinking about moving any of your manufacturing to Mexico, even though he signed this thing called the USMCA, which allows you to move some of your manufacturing to Mexico. He signed it, he created it, but put that aside. He says to them, okay, we're going to give you a 200% tariff for anything that you make that you then import. Tractors, let's say. So think about
That's if John Deere moved their factories to another country.
Even just a portion of them.
Got it.
Right.
No. So he's basically saying, don't leave
Don't leave.
US.
Don't leave. But it's not that easy because now... Can I
ask you a real quick question about that? So when let's say China tried to undercut our market, they would sell the steel here. Who would buy that steel? Like a Home Depot or something? I'm just trying
someone who's building a building, someone who's building.
So
whatever.
that company would have to pay that increased price. They would have to pay the tariff. And basically the tariff would be in place. So the company goes, well, I'd just rather buy the American steel because it's the same price.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So that's on the strategic side.
So it's always on the consumer of the business that's consuming the foreign goods here to pay the tariff. they will then,
or directly or indirectly, right?
Yeah.
So whoever imports it has to write the check.
got it.
So when Trump says China is paying for it, no.
He's not paying for it. Got it. Well, China could, in an effort to undercut the U.S. steel market, make it so low
on strategic stuff, yes.
Yeah.
But they're not the ones paying for it. Whoever does the importing.
We do pay for it, but essentially their government would be paying for the loss.
Right.
They would be subsidizing.
They could subsidize it. But if it's just like a Walmart product, so if it's strategic, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Because you want to protect U.S. Steel and other steel companies because you need that to protect for military reasons and other reasons.
Yep.
If it's if it's a shoe? If it's,
real quick, sorry to interrupt. Like, I'm just trying to think of,
Sure.
of a, what's it called? A strongman argument for this, or steelman argument?
Strongman.
If a tariff was placed and China still wanted to gain market share in steel in America, but if the tariff was significant enough that we could buy up all their steel while still manufacturing steel here, then we might even have a strategic advantage on China. This is a hypothetical,
right?
Where they would not be producing enough steel to support their own army. And we would,
buy it all out.
Do you know, like,
yeah, but then they would just say we don't need to send it to America.
And then they would stop the send.
They would stop the send.
But there is a number that you could adjust dials
So
to
the
that.
real question is, what does it take? Why can't American manufacturers make it cheap enough that you don't import it from China?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that John Deere is considering moving manufacturing to Mexico rather than just doing
cheaper labor, I assume?
Well, it's not just cheaper labor. There's technology and there's other things. But so Trump says, well, if we have these tariffs, then those companies will just manufacture here.
Yeah.
But think that through. If you could today manufacture it cheap enough so that you didn't have to import anything, wouldn't you do it?
They'd be doing it already.
The problem is that even if you said, you know what, it's made in America, and would Americans pay a little bit of a premium to be able to buy American made?
No.
They don't.
They don't. It's unfortunate, but they don't.
They don't. I have a company, cultivate.us, and that's all they do is help you look up. It's a browser extension, and it tells you if something was made in America or not.
Yeah.
I have two companies. I got Guardian Bikes and Cost Plus, where we have a manufacturing. Guardian Bikes, we literally moved their manufacturing from China here. Cost Plus Drugs, instead of doing anything overseas, we built our manufacturing plant in Dallas. And the reason we were able to do that is because we used robotics. The only way that we're going to beat them is because we're smarter than the motherfuckers and we've got better technology. But when Trump says tariffs, he doesn't say, look, let me help you invest in more robotics so we can kick their ass.
Because that you would agree with.
Yeah, that I would agree with.
Yeah.
That's what Harris is saying. That's why she said the other day when in Pittsburgh, we are going to invest in new technologies. AI is critical for us being able to compete militarily and otherwise. But Donald says, if you move anything at all, even if it's best for your business,
there'll be punitive measures.
There'll be punitive measures.
But I understand the concern and why that is an effective strategy for American voters. Because if you're somebody from like Detroit and you watch the auto industry leave Detroit, right? You probably heard of those stories if you work at the John Deere factory, and you're like, whether it's logical or not, you start going, well, he's the guy who's going to keep my job here, even if it's not the case.
But they already know because they've already lost those jobs. That's already happened, right? There's been plants that left. Like it's like he said the same thing to a carrier plant in Indianapolis in 2017.
I remember this.
Or 2018, whatever it was, where they were going to move to Mexico.
Yeah.
And fucking carrier just played him like a fucking fiddle. And so he got Mike Pence to go to the state of Indiana to give Carrier money in order to keep those jobs there. But what Carrier did was, okay, we won't send those jobs to Mexico. We'll cut other jobs, but the jobs that you wanted us not to send to Mexico, cool. And when it was all said and done, they ended up moving to Mexico anyways.
Wow.
They were supposedly, there was a plant in Wisconsin that was going to be built by this company called Foxconn. And it was going to be this big, manufacturing of I don't even remember what.
Yeah.
They got all this money from Paul Ryan or whoever the governor was back then in Wisconsin. They didn't build shit.
So the theory would be, because I'm listening to Trump talk about it, I'm like, oh, theoretically, if tariffs are high enough, manufacturing will build back up in America because there's a demand and we need manufacturing in America. What you're saying is people are just going to buy the cheaper product always. They don't give a fuck where it's made.
Unfortunately, because like I've tried, other people have tried, but if you just look, just think of it from as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, if I know that Walmart's buying widgets for $1 each, and I can put something together to make them for 98 cents each,
People will buy it for 98. Yeah,
fuck yeah, I'm going to put it together. And so
Yeah,
is every
yeah.
other entrepreneur in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Trying to say, don't import it. Like, if you could do it cheaper,
Yeah.
you would be doing it.
But so here's the question: like, we have to invest in robotics, you said, right? But isn't that on the business? Like, isn't it on the government to develop these robotics and then go, by the way, businesses, don't you want to use them?
Well, that's part of those programs
you
we
wanna-
talked about before, because you have to do robotics for the military. And so the Department of Defense does a
It's like
lot
duct tape was invented by NASA.
All that stuff,
It
yeah.
trickles down. So it's developed at the highest level. Boston Dynamics is first going to develop something for the military, and eventually it's going to be in some kid's iPad.
Yeah, and just some projects are just too big. And so it just takes too much money, like AI
Well, that's
right
the
now.
AI shit.
Yeah,
Did you
it's
see
so
Microsoft
fucking
bought the island? What was it?
3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
For over $1 billion.
This is kind of crazy. Maybe explain to them
break
this.
this down.
So
this
AI uses a shit ton of electricity.
Yeah.
A shit ton. And by the way, just a little aside, when people talk about AI taking jobs, because it uses so much electricity, fucking plumbers, electricians, power engineers, all these people, the jobs are going to skyrocket.
Oh, and they're blue collar jobs too.
Those are all
because the
blue-collar apprentices.
facility
Yes.
to generate all
All
of
that
this electricity.
power.
That's interesting.
And so they require so much power, and that's why solar farms and everything. I mean, there's programs now where if you have solar energy on your home and you have excess time of day, you could sell it to the local utility plant.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be all these ways to generate power that we need. And so Microsoft did a deal and bought 3 Mile Island.
So give a little background to what 3 Mile Island
3
is.
Mile, I mean, I don't know the whole strip, but
nuclear
it's like a
facility.
nuclear plant that burned down, basically.
Yeah, one of them, I think they had multiple plants. I think one of them
one
had
of
a
the
problem.
reactors, one of the reactors had something happen and it had a nuclear meltdown.
But it's still functioning. The others are still functioning, and they basically bought it because they needed nuclear energy. It just requires so much electricity to run all the simulations, right? Because you're like synthesizing data sets.
Yeah, they're just training all these models. And
Yeah.
it just takes so much more. And the power of the
They bought a
chips.
nucult reactor island. Like that's something out of like a Bond movie.
No,
right?
it's
Like,
insane. It's
yeah.
insane. But, it comes down to, do you want to give incentives to companies to work with the government and do these projects? Or do you want to take a hammer and just say, fuck you, bitch, you will do it this way? That's the difference. And I think that's what people don't get. But to your point, Andrew, he's a great salesperson.
Yeah.
He sells it and he says it the way people want to hear it. And if you're not looking to get into the details like I might, then it's just like, fuck, that makes sense.
Well, I think people are emotional, right? And I think we make decisions off of emotion. What I will say is like the first term that he ran, I think he was spot on to what people were feeling that wasn't being spoken about. He was like, it was
100%.
a laser point.
100%.
And I think every election since, he's been a few like standard deviations away from that mean. And I don't think Kamala's on it either. I don't think either one are like hitting the zeitgeist.
I agree.
What do you think the zeitgeist is right now? What do you think the general feeling of Americans is?
Pissed off.
About
everything, because everything's a fight. Everything's a battle. There's nothing that's easy anymore. Everybody is just fucking with everybody, yelling at everybody, worried about everything. And it's like, and there's no facts we agree on.
Dude, it is, for all the amazing things that the internet have given us, it has also eroded our confidence in everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
There is just as much proof that vaccines are good, that they are bad. I don't know if it's just as much, but there's a doctor out there who will tell you these
They're
vaccines
bad.
are horrible.
Yeah.
There's a doctor that will say
There's
they're
like
good.
6 of them, but there's 1 million doctors, because I did this project, right, where we talked about going to med school for free.
Yep.
So that we have more doctors to get them into different places. Like 95% of doctors have been fully vaccinated.
Yep.
So the 5 doctors that are like, but we don't need to get into that vaccine shit.
The point is more like, if there's one that is a doctor
That's
that
pushing it out
says,
there.
hey, I don't know, it makes you at least
100%.
as a person that just went to college, you're like, well, I don't fucking know. That guy has got the outfit on. He must be right about it.
And he validates what I'm feeling, so I'm good.
Exactly.
100%.
So and
I agree with
that's
that
about
all
everything.
the way through. It's hard.
There's
It makes
no
it-
institution that I think we feel confident in right now.
because there's no leadership and there's no trust. When there's no leadership, there's no trust.
And there's no control of information. I'm not saying the government should control information. I love the freedom of it. But when they did control the information, they could curate narratives that we all kind of
fell in line with,
and we started to believe it. And these narratives had like built-in confidence. Like the idea of America was this romanticized version of it. And then you get open source information. You start learning like, wow, there's some kind of fucked up things.
And you see, there's other people who believe the same thing. So it used to be you were the only one, you know, at the gym that would talk about this shit. And now you can find a million people. Yeah. Especially like you go from 150 million people 30 years ago, whatever in the country, to 330 million now.
It's an instant growth, huh?
Yeah, with just like 1%. If 1% of people are really fucked up, that's a whole lot of fucked up people.
3.3 million
fucked up people.
Wow.
So that shit like just grows, but it just, if we had a strong leader, I'm not saying Kamala is the strongest leader. Yeah. There's things I don't agree with her at all. I think she winds up when she answers questions. Yeah. I'm not a fan of ending the filibuster, which I think is a huge mistake. So there's a lot of things I disagree with her on, but I think her heart's in the right place. You know, if you believe like I do that we want people to trust, that we want someone who tries to bring people together, that isn't negative towards people. You've heard her pick on Trump and J.D. Vance, but she hasn't said anything about Trump supporters. She said she'll talk to Republicans, she'll talk to independents, she'll get ideas from anybody, and she truly will. And to me, that's important because the one certainty you have about the presidency and life in general, you don't know what the fuck's going to happen tomorrow. You just don't. And you want somebody, you know, there's this old saying that says character is destiny. The type of person that you are guides how you make decisions. And while she's far from perfect, I just think her character will guide her in the right direction to put American people first. And I just think Donald Trump's going to put himself first. I just don't think he's going to put anybody else in front of him. And you talk about what happened before, every single thing he's done. Those 40 out of 44 cabinet members who came out against him, they didn't say we disagreed. They said he was unfit for office because he did shit for himself first. Literally, like during 2020 when we had the Black Lives Matters riots and protests, the motherfucker didn't say, calm down, let's bring people together. He goes, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. That's not
bars.
This guy.
That is bars, though. Like, if you were going to loot that day, you'd be like, maybe not today.
Unless it was Washington, D.C. and the Capitol. Yeah. Then it's like, we don't need those magnetometers, the things to check for guns and everything. We don't care, right? Let them in. It was just a vacation.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the lopsided Supreme Court?
I mean, I'm not happy about it, but you know, I'm not surprised about it. But I'm not a fan of trying to expand the Supreme Court at all. Okay. Now, I'm all for term limits, so that instead of doing it for life,
it's insane that you just get to die.
You just
no matter how senile you are, you just can hold on.
So I think that's wrong, but I don't think you expand it to 70 because then the next president who disagrees with you just does the same thing, and it's just a clusterfuck. So I think when the Democrats talk about that, they're full of shit.
Why are you against the filibuster?
Because I think that requiring 60 votes to get something changed means you have to convince people who disagree with you. And I think that's important. And I think if we're going to have any chance of bringing people together, you've got to have incentives to bring people together. Politicians, parties, you know, citizens, voters, non-voters, you've got to go through that process, and having the filibuster protects that. And so I think she's wrong in saying no filibuster. But I'm pro-choice, right? So I understand why she wants to do it. Yeah. I got 2 daughters. I don't want anybody making a decision for them. Right. But I don't think that changing the filibuster is the way to do it at all.
It is unfortunate to state the Supreme Court because in its inception, you're like, okay, these are the greatest constitutional minds that the country has. Yeah. They are not partisan. They look at the document and this is how they feel. And they look at the voting records and they're absolutely partisan. Yeah. So it's almost like elected officials that just have this. If you're going to be an elected official, okay, let's get you out of here, you know, every 6 years. It could be 10 years, whatever it is, if we feel like you are too biased.
Agree.
But I like the idea behind it. The idea behind it is like, hey, listen, everybody's biased except this person we think is really smart and really fair, get him in there for life, and let's keep him around. And
this person that gets appointed by the president, who has his own biases.
But yeah, exactly. And
can we realistically get term limits, or is that there's some things where you're like, I just don't know how you get that done.
It'd be very difficult.
I don't know
because this is a branch of government that has existed from the inception.
And you have to convince the people who have the power to let go of the power. They're not going to do that.
They probably won't do it. I guess you just hope that they uphold the law, like they have some integrity.
And now it's just, you just don't know. Again, that's just, you don't trust.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break real quick because I got to tell you where to go. If you want Delta 8 or Delta 9 products, you need to go to deltaclouds.com. They have all your favorite brands of gummies, hemp products, pre-rolls, disposables, cartridges, and they're all at incredibly discounted prices. They are currently offering $35 off, plus free, fast, discreet shipping on all orders over $125. And on top of that, because Flagrant looks out, we got you an extra discount, 15% off your order if you use the code FLAGRANT at checkout on purchases of 4 or more products. Again, you will end up paying around $76 for $125 worth of products. That's a pretty big discount. And you get free shipping. This coupon applies to every order, not just your first, so make sure you take full advantage. And they mentioned they will throw in a free 700 milligram, 700 milligram triple XL THC. That shit is free. So have it, cut it into 100 pieces and give it to your friends. You know what I mean? Either way, don't miss out on this amazing deal. Visit deltaclouds.com. That's clouds with a Z. So CLOUDZ, deltaclouds.com. Start saving right now. Also, to be clear, you got to be 21 or over to purchase this. You probably knew that, but we should say it anyway for legal reasons. And deltaclouds.com only sells Delta products to legal states. Sorry, other states, you're shit out of luck, but that's your governor's fault, really. Let's get back to the show.
I know you said strong leadership, but I do think that there is for a country like America that thrives off self-esteem, right? American excellence is really important to us, right? It's part of our DNA. It's baked into our identity. Every movie that we watch exemplifies
100%.
it. And I feel like our confidence is at an all-time low.
I agree.
And how do you build the confidence of a nation that feels like it's eroding a little bit?
You go door to door. You really have got to go where people don't expect you to be seen and talk to people.
But what do you what do you give them to believe? And the Olympics came around and I felt like for a few weeks, we cared about the sports we don't give a fuck about, and we're winning, and we're like, we're back. American excellence is great. And then it stops, and everybody goes back to the government is corrupt, the pharmaceutical industries are corrupt, the military-industrial complex is corrupt.
Yeah.
What is the thing that we get to sit down and go, you know what, I'm proud to be an American because of this?
I mean, I'd like to think the American dream, the one thing that makes us different than every other country is everybody in this room, everybody watching, they either have had or think they'll have some idea that they can start a business around, or somebody will invest in them for who they are and what they believe in. And that's what makes this country different. I go talk to kids all the time and I'll say, look around, see that light, see that picture, see that screen, see that camera, see that. One day it didn't exist. And somebody could look like you, could be like you, said, I have this idea, and followed through. And now that table, that drink, that light, that was because somebody came up with this idea. And I say to these kids, why not you? Why can't you be that one to come up with this idea? And there's nobody that can stop you but you got to do the work.
Right.
And I think when we give people a reason to believe in themselves and show them that there's a future for themselves, that they can come up with that idea, they can get that job, they can learn, that learning is actually a skill that can take you places, then I think we'll start to respect each other. Because if I think you were going to do something that you believe in, okay, I respect you for that. If I think you're going to do it, or anybody's going to do it.
So entrepreneurship and education are still,
I think, core. That's who we've been our entire history.
And education, I think, has taken a little bit of a hit if you look in the traditional sense.
I agree.
But education in terms of there's information out there that can help me achieve my dream, I think still exists, and entrepreneurship absolutely does.
And then if you add to it like ChatGPT or Gemini or any of the AI, now you see kids that we're all using it, right? It's just because it's a shortcut.
Yeah.
And so you can teach yourself anything. Even before the large language models from AI, even if you went online and started searching, you had to decide what was good content or bad content. Yeah. And I'm not saying these AI large language models are all right, but between 3 or 4 of them, you can set up a syllabus. You can set up a program to teach yourself anything.
It's pretty amazing.
Anything.
Yeah.
And so I think you nailed it when you said the internet went from this beautiful thing back in the day where we were going to have access to information to it being a shithole in a lot of respects, particularly with social media. But now I'm hoping with AI and the ChatGPT and the Geminis, et cetera, that can give everybody a chance to learn.
The analogy I use is, remember when those Nigerian credit card scams popped up, right? And like in early internet days, you get an email and they're like, hey, if you give me $50,000, you're going to be a millionaire. People fell for that shit, because you were so excited and you didn't believe that somebody could dupe you on the internet. And I feel like that's what we're going through with information on the internet
100%.
right now. And I think 100%. In like maybe 5 years or 10 years, these large language models will have
Something will change, right? It's not going to be like I remember back in the day when we were starting AudioNet before broadcast.com, people talking about you cannot give your credit card to anybody on the internet. Amazon,
I remember that.
Amazon will not succeed. Amazon will fail because
my mom is still saying that to this day.
Writing checks to Bezos directly.
But Amazon will fail because no one's going to give them a fucking credit card.
I remember being skeptical of PayPal. Like, what? They're just gonna.
I felt the same way. I felt the same way. Yeah.
It's interesting.
And now it's nothing.
AI
question. What do you think is the ultimate destiny of AI? How it
everything?
Do you think it destroys humanity, or do you think it saves humanity?
So here's kind of the reference point that I think protects us. Like I have a mini Australian Shepherd. Yep. Do you guys have dogs at all?
Yeah.
They're smart dogs and dumb dogs, right?
Yep.
You take a smart dog, you can put it almost anywhere.
Yeah.
If you put a smart dog in the middle of the street, in the middle of nowhere where they've never been before, they're going to figure out where the danger is and all that. They're going to get across the street and take you across the street. And so if you had a choice of going in a full service, and I'm not trying to rip on Tesla and just using this as an example, full self-service driving car, if it hasn't seen something in front of it before, because if it hasn't been trained on it, it's going to fuck up. It's going to run into that. So if there's like a blob that's just sitting there that's never seen before, it's not going to know what to do. And it can run into a pedestrian or whatever. You put my mini Australian Shepherd there and it sees a blob, it's going to bark a few times, but then go around it and realize there's no other risk. Until AI is as smart as a puppy, it's not going to be all that great a risk. I don't think. Now, it doesn't mean like I can give you tons of scary shit too. Like I can tell you about little fly size or maybe bigger drones that are all controlled by AI that, you're going to see these drone attacks of 1 million little insect drones and they're all controlled by AI and self-thinking and da-da-da-da-da. That's just going to be scary as fuck. When that happens, I don't know, but it's going to happen. But in terms of, like the movie AI and, robotics taking over and robots taking over, no, not for a while. Not for a long, long time, because
life will get better before it gets worse.
Yeah. Because if it's not going to be as smart as a puppy or even a cat, like cats are dumb as fuck, and they figure out how to fall and land on their feet.
So then, do you not subscribe to? And I'm not trying to say this so that you like beat up on Elon, but like, are you wouldn't trust the Tesla auto drive?
Not with my eyes closed the whole time.
Interesting.
No.
He sleeps in it.
Yeah, guy goes to bed.
Oh, while you're driving?
I was an early adopter. I love it.
Yeah. Look, I have it too. Yeah. And I play with it, but it still scares the shit out of me. Would I want my family to just close their eyes and let it drive itself? No. But do I see the value? Absolutely. Now, if it were up to me, and I said this to the city of Dallas, like when you go to Vegas, you can't cross the strip. You have to go up over the strip.
Yeah.
You got to walk over. I would be pushing. If I'm Elon, I'm pushing to put those in every downtown that you possibly can, even, working out deals. So there's no pedestrians to hit.
Yeah.
And then
unsightly.
Yeah, but put that aside. Like now you can. Yeah, okay.
This guy's been in the Hamptons.
Look at
it's like what a fucking Hamptons thing to say. That disgusted me.
So we'll let you decorate it.
Yeah, we'll let you decorate. Look at like some lady turn to jelly every once in a while. Then a bridge over everything.
Well, you get to look up, right?
Yeah. Well, I get. Yeah.
You put that. Opens the window.
What a simple idea to just make no more accidents. And I'm just like, but the bridge. You have to look at the bridge.
You see what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah.
You just put those crosswalk over top.
Could you
and
put them underground?
You could put them underground.
Okay,
a lot
that'd
of
be
cities
better.
have them underground.
Yeah.
And, you know, Elon could use the boring company and just, you know, but you put it underground.
But you would
Now-
never do that in New York City. Like, imagine a bridge on every single street. That's crazy. How would you get the 18-wheelers
If
in?
it looks nice, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
We
think
got
of
the
the
skyline,
value
this-
proposition. Yeah, you got to walk up and walk over, but still, like every car can be self-driving. Every delivery can
That
be
is true.
self-driving.
That
you
is
can
true.
then start building buildings where Elon has one of his trucks and they just back in and there's no human involved. And it's just Costco, I think it was, is building a new Costco but it's going to be in the middle of all these apartments. And you can automate all that shit. You know, you put your freezer so it just backs up.
Holy
Wow.
Wait. Just so everybody understands what just happened. So the unit, your refrigerator, backs up to a Costco potentially that's on the inside.
Right, so it's got like a little delivery door.
It just refills you with ice cream
like
and
a
drops
whatever,
on
yeah.
the
Like at a
whatever.
convenience store, you know, the fridges,
yes,
they load them from the back.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
I think Diddy has that for the baby oil.
Because he can. Because he can.
Thousand bottles. Great.
Yeah, that is what a crazy idea. Give me some more of these like innovations you think
That's the
we'll
shit
see
I think
happening.
about all the
Yeah,
time.
this is exciting
But
to me. Like, whoa,
I mean,
give us your designs for city, for business, for whatever these
I'm
are.
giving
Yeah.
away his IP for free, bro.
Oh, yeah,
man.
Are you trying to develop some of this stuff?
no. My mission is to fuck up the healthcare industry. So that's my focus. But
Okay, so then fuck up the other industries while you focus on this. Give us the details for that.
no, I mean, but seriously, that's just something I always thought about when it came to self-driving cars because I want them to work. I want it to work for Elon. I think that's important for the country, you know, for civilization. I think he's doing an amazing. Look, I fuck with Elon on Twitter because he fucks with everybody on Twitter.
Yeah.
But he's the best entrepreneur of our generation by far. It's not even close.
Yeah.
The shit he does is just insanely.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, the
Elon
dude is.
before Twitter was the man.
I loved him.
Exactly
Elon
right.
post Twitter. Yeah.
But then he became politicized, and I knew it. The second it happened,
Please don't.
It fucked
Yeah.
it up.
Don't.
But that is
don't
the thing
go
that you
off
have
the
to
deep end like
that you should be concerned
Yeah.
about too. Like I understand that you're doing this because
But once the election's over, it's over.
you're back to
And
it.
here's what I also give you credit for. Elon is very transparently pro-Republican and pretends he cares about it for the sake of the country. And it's very obvious you don't really give a fuck about the country. You have some ulterior motive. You never say Democrat, Republican,
No, I don't give a
conservative,
fuck about
liberal.
it. They can both
think
go
Elon
away.
cares
Elon, he's rescuing astronauts.
I think Elon cares
sending
about the-
Starlinks
Elon,
around
he's
places.
not
I think,
Republican
don't
because
get me
he
wrong.
cares
Elon
about
does amazing
America.
shit.
I think he
Amazing.
I think he
I don't think
But
that
he
drives
does
his
it-
politic.
But I think he does it the wrong way.
That's not why he's Republican all of a sudden. It's not about the
No,
welfare of America. He didn't buy Twitter because he's concerned about free speech. He bought Twitter because he wants to sway the election the way he wants to control it.
Oh,
himself.
I disagree. I don't think that it's. I don't know the level of altruism, but I do think that he believes that this will be the most beneficial form of government representation for America.
I don't.
What do you think it is?
No, I think he wants to be. Twitter is impactful in a lot of countries, a lot of big countries. And when you have control of the algorithm and what people see effectively, the influence you have to, you know, curry favor from every head of state.
So it's power.
It's power. It's 100%
Can
power.
you like, elaborate on that a little bit more? I think that's an argument that I haven't heard. You can curry favor from heads of state because
like look
you
at
can
Brazil.
control the
Look at the
narrative.
fight. Yeah, look what happened in Brazil.
Explain that a little
Yeah,
bit.
So-
please break that down. 'cause
Yeah, so,
he
again, I'm not
folded
an
in a
expert
way
on this,
that
but
I did not expect.
Brazil said that
Elon
you
folded. Yeah.
there was a judge in Brazil that said Twitter is putting out misinformation in the country of Brazil. And they told him that he has to shut down or get fined. And he said, fuck you, I'm not going to do it. And then they shut him down. And then time went on where he wasn't there and users started going elsewhere. And so he acquiesced and paid his fine and now they're back. But he got to talk to the head of state of Brazil. He had dinner with the prime minister of Italy. There's not anybody who's not going to take his fucking call. I thought it was brilliant, right? From a net worth perspective, to spend 44, and it wasn't all his money. I think he put in 11 or 20 or whatever he put in, right? Still a fuck ton of money, but he bought access to everybody and anybody.
He also brought up a point on another podcast. If you reply to someone on Twitter everybody who follows you sees the tweet that you replied to. Elon's the most followed person on Twitter. It's not a coincidence that he always responds to random Republican tweets.
Oh, it's very
so everybody
clear.
sees it.
Yeah.
Repost
I agree
every
with you. His
Republican
politics
thing.
are very clear, and I think a lot of people are kind of let down by it. I'm not like in love with his online personality, but I really respect him as an
Oh
entrepreneur.
yeah,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
separate the
yeah.
online personality from the
Absolutely.
entrepreneur, there's no way you can't just think Elon's amazing. He's a genius.
Yeah.
Every which way, there's
What
no
do you
way.
change the world?
What do
No.
you think? Like, because you're someone who's had successes at the highest level. What do you think separates him? Like, is it his ability to hire, his ability to like organize? Like, what are the things that you look at?
I
and
think
you're
it's
like,
vision. I think
Okay.
it's vision and execution. Lots of people can have a vision. I can talk about putting things over the streets, but I ain't going to do shit.
So it's the idea.
Idea and follow through.
And then what is follow through? Is it specifically like coming up with the plan? Is it hiring the
It's
right
willing to
people
put it
do
all
it?
on the line.
That's it.
Because he went into debt. He didn't care. He put up the money. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm all in. I don't give a fuck about the rest.
That's
The way I grew up, like, I'm still cheap to a certain extent because that's the way I was raised. Like, my dad did upholstery on cars. His dad, was a waiter. My mom did odd jobs. Her dad just sold clothing door to door, literally, on from car shop to car shop. So, and they grew up in the Depression and all that. And so it was my mom still till the day she died, but like the cheapest dress from TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
I couldn't get her to buy anything nice. It was TJ Maxx. It's just, that was the way I was born. So I'm always like, save. Elon's like, fuck it, go for it. That's a skill.
And that mentality allows you to take those big swings.
Big swings. And so, like, when I had nothing to lose, I could take a big swing because I had nothing to fucking lose,
Yeah.
right? I'm sleeping on the floor. I'm starving. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And now I can take bigger swings, but
you're still thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm
You're
still thinking about it.
calculating.
Yeah, I'm still like, how am I going to protect myself in case the shit hits the fan?
Yeah.
So when I started Cost Plus, it cost a lot of money, but Elon like puts it all out.
He was on his last piece of budget for the rocket launch for SpaceX. Tesla was his PayPal money. Like,
Put it all on the line.
So that's an interesting way of looking at it. It's not like you're trying to avoid risk, but it's almost like he has zero concern about risk
Don't worry where that next hamburger's coming from.
at all.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what do you think that is?
I don't think, he never, I mean,
He also had some money growing up, but there might be a little bit more comfort with it.
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't want to discredit him. I hate when people do that.
I
Like,
don't want to discredit him all. Like,
Yeah.
online, Elon is a prick.
yeah. But in the
Inventor,
business world,
he's the best.
He's the best.
He's going to change the future. He's
So is
changing
that like when you're speaking amongst your peers, the conversations you're having? I'm sure you guys have your version of Mount Rushmore, whatever it is, and the people that you probably think are like overrated. And I'm actually curious what that is. We can even cut them out if you
I don't really
feel
pay
comfortable.
attention enough. Like, my boys are my boys, right?
But are there any people that are in the entrepreneurship world that you look at and you're like, he gets all his credit, but he's fine.
No,
He's
because
not-
if you get to where people know who you are,
gotta be good.
You did something right. Yeah, I'm
you
not
gotta
gonna
be good.
I'm not going to nail on somebody that except for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
literally, that's the example.
Interesting. Why? And why him?
Because he didn't. I mean, go through his list.
Yeah.
Of where he got his money, and tell me where he actually made it.
Did he not earn it through real estate?
I think his dad built all those buildings for him until he died. Like, after 1999, his biggest hit came from these 3 buildings that he defaulted on, and he did a deal that turns out to be right. But he said, if the value goes over $1 billion, I'm losing these buildings, but to keep me from suing you and just making a big stink in the media, if these buildings, if you sell them for more than $1 billion, I want 30%. And the buildings were worth like $200 million, and they were like, fuck it, whatever. We never thought they would be.
They went over.
Real estate in New York goes nuts. They went over. That's where he got his next tranche of money. And then the other thing he did that was smart, and I'll give him credit for, is, in a golf club, like I said, I'm not a golfer, you put down a deposit to join the club.
Yeah.
And that deposit is supposed to be there so that when somebody leaves the club, you get your money back.
Yeah.
Do you belong to any golf club?
No, but I'm familiar with this.
So what he did
So it's not a payment. A lot of people think that it's a payment, but they essentially are holding that money.
It's a deposit. It's a deposit you're supposed to get back when you leave the club.
Yeah.
Well, what he did was a little janky, but he did it, and they got sued, and it got approved in the courts. He said, I'm just going to use that money for whatever I
So he
want.
operated like a bank.
Well,
With the
he didn't
people's
lend it out.
deposits.
He used it for himself.
Oh, okay.
So he said, I'm taking which was smart in so many respects. Janky, but smart. He said, I want to buy this golf course. It has $100 million in deposits. If I could just get control of the golf course for whatever amount, even if I have to borrow, then I take the deposits and I make use of it. Now that's my money to use for whatever I want. And if Andrew leaves the golf course, I'll just give him the $250,000 from his deposit, and it don't matter. So
Zero interest loan.
Because because not everybody's going to leave at the same time, and as long as I make the golf course amazing,
look that shit up and see
what.
So if he invests
That's a
at
smart
5%,
idea.
It's smart. It's
if he
janky,
puts
but
it
it's
in the
smart.
fucking money market, he's making money on $100 million.
So how do you get caught with that? Did he not pay somebody out? Or?
No, it's not that he got caught. It's just the members of the club he did it to first said, I want that deposit there. I don't want to trust you to find the money to give me my deposit
How did they
back.
even know that he was investing it?
Well, he was taking over the club.
So when he took over the club, he didn't say, by the way, I'm going to take over all your deposits.
What he had to, right? Because the money, the people
people
you know,
have
like there's
access
a
to that
board.
because
Yeah, there's a board.
Yeah, got it.
So they found out. One end, it was smart as fuck. Like I said, settled suit from former members seeking refunds.
Wow.
What year was that? I can't see that far.
2018.
Okay, that's when the suit settled. So
Yeah.
So if you buy a golf course, and I'm not saying you can, but if you bought a golf course for $50 million, but it had $100 million that are just sitting there,
Hello.
you got paid $50 million to buy the golf course.
Yeah.
That's a smart fucking move. He found a little
that's
delta.
what I just say, right?
Yeah.
Janky, but smart.
Yeah.
But you said, where's he getting his money?
Yeah. Any other entrepreneurs coming up that you're looking at? You're like, I think this guy's really got it.
There's a lot of them. It's just like with AI right now, everybody's...
Kevin O'Leary, maybe?
No. I love Kevin to death, but no, I'm not going to him for entrepreneur. I mean, Sam Altman is doing some interesting things, but he's like getting into like all kinds of bullshit, which you don't want to necessarily get into.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you break that down? How they're
I don't know all the details.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
don't know.
Here's a question. What's your superpower? Why is it you come from modest means, not poor, but modest, and then you're a billionaire multiple times over? How? What do you think your greatest strength is?
So I love to learn. So when it comes to business, I'll read, learn anybody. Like I'll read everything, everything. And then I'm good at saying, okay, here's what I know. Steve Jobs said everything is a remix. And I take that to heart. You just said, here's where we are. Here's everything I know. What's next? So it's like the overpass on the roads. Okay, what's a way to solve this problem? It's like costplusdrugs.com. It's an opaque industry. Everybody says you can't fix drug pricing. I'm like, what's missing? No transparency. So I'm going to make all of our prices transparent. I'm going to publish our price list so everybody can see it. And it's been the easiest industry to disrupt I've ever been involved with. And so my superpower is being able to look at something and say, here's what I know. Here's what I think we can do. Can we do it? Yes or no? And then just going for it. And I think other than that, I can sell like a motherfucker. I work my ass off and I'm not afraid to fail.
That's great.
I mean, it scares me, but I'll work my ass off so that, I mean, you guys started this.
Yeah.
It takes balls to do this. Everybody says no, it can't work.
for sure it's
then,
scary.
it's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
But that makes you work harder.
Yeah.
100%.
Sorry, follow up about the cost plus drugs, health insurance. Do you have any ideas on how you could disrupt that industry?
Oh yeah, just stay tuned.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about
Why
this.
haven't you made deals with the insurance companies so they just start buying
Because they're
through you?
fucked. They're fucked. So insurance companies, most people who have health insurance have it through an employer who self-insures.
Yeah.
And so you know what self-insurance is, right? Where the employer pays the bills.
Yeah.
But that's not traditional insurance. The idea of insurance, like your car insurance, right? If you get in a wreck, your car insurance gives you money. But with health insurance, for most people, their employer self-insures. And so that means what the fuck does an insurance company do if they're not insuring?
It's almost like they're not taking any risk at all.
None whatsoever.
It's a pretty sweet business to be in, huh?
Yes. And so all they do is they process the paperwork.
Yeah.
And they take nickels and dimes here and there's some from the hospital, some from the employer, some from the patient with a deductible or a copay.
Yeah.
And that all adds up to a fuck ton of money. We're saying, just like we did with drugs, we'll get to this point where we're going to publish all of our contracts so everybody knows what to do. And we're going to cut out the insurance company completely and just go to the provider, whoever provides the healthcare.
Yeah.
And I'll just do a contract with you because the providers hate the fucking insurance companies as much as we do.
You know, it's funny. The insurance company is almost like a money manager in that, like, they're just taking a scrape.
They're
not
sales,
taking the risk.
Commission sales is all they are. They're commission sales.
Yeah.
We're going to go sign up this company, this company, this company. And hospital, if you want access to their employees for their shit, right, here's what we're going to pay you, and we're going to be a sales funnel. They're just commission sales.
Isn't that fucked?
It is totally fucked.
I still don't get why wouldn't they be incentivized to buy meds from you if they can get meds from you for cheaper?
You would think because they make more money. Buying the cheapest is not how they make their most money. They make their most money by saying that we're saving you money and we're doing all these things, but we're not showing you the actual information.
Okay.
So if you think that, like, if they came to Cost Plus Drugs and something cost $100, but you don't know what the price of it really is, and they charge you $300 because you don't know what the price is, they make more money.
So in other words, like, they're getting the drugs for the same price he is.
Well, they may even be paying more. They may even pay more than what we pay, but they don't care.
Their delta is
because
crazy.
What they care, because what they care
Because the
about is
people
that
don't know the real price of the
right.
drugs.
That's all they care
But if
about.
they care about money, they could still even make a little bit more by saving
the
out
spread could be a little
bit
bit more, but they don't want anybody to know what they're doing.
So
it's
they'll
like
let
Fight
the
Club.
drug companies take a little bit higher amount. That's actually brilliant. Hey, none of these people know it's 10 cents. I'll give you $1.
Well, it's actually
pill.
these places called PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers, who act as the middlemen who do that. So they say, okay, manufacturer, I'm going to give you $200, but you're going to give me a rebate of $150, and then I'm going to tell everybody I paid $200, and then
This is so. There's like 4 different middlemen that are eating off the same thing.
Fucked up. It is so fucked up, but that's opportunity. That's like where Elon is going
You really
out.
need security, bro.
Yeah, you
You
need
really
security.
need
They're gonna
security.
come for you.
Yeah.
That's a honeypot. That's a giant
Well, I got a whole
honeypot
bunch
that
of
you're
people outside,
disrupting.
so
But that is
Jesus Christ.
wow.
It's crazy.
What an absolute mind.
it's a scam. It's a scam. But now, like,
How many people do you think actually knows Americans understand how the insurance industry, the medical
it's more and
insurance
more
industry
now
works?
because just recently the FTC started going after the motherfuckers and just
Who
started.
inspired that?
I think we did because we put out the first price list where, like, there's researchers that are saying, look, if Medicare insurance companies that work with Medicare bought through Cost Plus, these 9 drugs would save taxpayers $3.6 billion. And then they just did a report from the FTC where they used our pricing to say these PBMs, the middlemen, they're ripping off people left and right.
wow.
And so, I mean, we fucking, no doubt, absolutely no doubt that we were right there because it all started when we started releasing our price list.
So what happens when all those companies just adjust their prices
They're toast.
to yours?
They're toast.
Why?
Because then all of a sudden, these public companies that have $100 billion in sales have a fourth of those. Of that.
And then
So should
probably
we be
stock price.
shorting? Should we be shorting those companies right now? Is that...
It's worth taking a look.
Now, I'm not saying you're doing this,
I'm not.
but you are. This is brilliant. No, I'm not saying you're doing this, but you know how the NBA teams, they want to build a new arena, but they'll own all the real estate around it so that they could benefit from developing that area, right? It would be genius if there was a person that saw a white space or saw a super inflated or bureaucratic market like, you know, the insurance business and shorted all the companies and then developed something that would cause them to tank.
It's not that I didn't think of it. It's not that I didn't think of it,
I'm
right?
glad you thought of it.
The problem isn't the short.
I'm doing it!
No. I used to make a fuck ton of money shorting companies. Like, you have no idea. I started this company called sharesleuth.com.
Okay.
And it's still in business today, but it's a lot smaller. And I hired this guy to just go out and find public information, only public information about bullshit companies, because there's all these bullshit companies, not, you know, the ones that have 100, 200, $500 million market caps. And like, he would find companies that were putting out press releases about this new warehouse they opened. And so he would send somebody to the warehouse,
And it wouldn't even
no
know.
utilities, nobody there, all that shit. And so,
you
and I
short
just,
those companies.
oh my God, I just killed it.
Yeah.
Just killed it. And I would tell them, like, I'm shorting, they would publish the article and it would say, this is Mark Cuban's short position.
Wow.
And yeah, just killed it.
Because they were fraudulent companies.
Frauds.
Yeah, they're just
100%
cooking the
frauds.
books, and he just called it out and just waited. Wow. Now, with this insurance thing, you'd have to make sure you can take down the insurance companies.
Well, because they're big and they're not stupid. And
Yeah.
so they're gonna react and come up with different ideas.
Fuck. Are there any other sectors that you'd like to get? Actually, let me ask you a better question. What else do you think that you could be instrumental in fixing on a government level?
Oh, I mean, just like Trump was talking about with Elon, it's just common sense to fix a lot of that shit. But I think what's being missed is you don't just cut. Like we talked about Vivek.
Yeah.
Vivek says you just cut out the Department of Education, give it to the states. You can't do that for all the reasons I mentioned. You got to say, I look at it and say, what's the problem we're trying to solve? We're trying to get more results to the people who need them.
But like, give me another one. Like, do you look at education and go, okay, I could fix that?
Yeah,
Do you look at...
okay. So education, I would love to start a fucking college. I just don't have the time to do it. Where you set it up, like colleges today, they're paying administrators $200,000 and up, and they're paying professors less than that, and they're paying the TAs that actually teach the classes, the teaching assistants, minimum wage.
Yeah.
And they spend more money on sports, they spend more money on the fucking cafeterias and all this other shit.
The
And
amenities,
kids,
yeah.
and kids pick schools because the tailgating and the football games are better. I'm like, how cool would it be if I had the time to start a business school where I set all the curriculum and all this? But the problem, the challenge is you have to go through this accreditation process. And that's all the old school fuck you type guys that are just going to say, we ain't going to do that for you because I checked. And so
there's like a boys club, you're saying?
kind of,
essentially?
yeah. Getting accreditation is a beast. And so...
And you don't like to schmooze with the politicians?
No, I'm not going to do that shit. No. Now, the question then becomes, you just start it and go to companies and say, it's not accredited, but it's a degree. It's not Trump University,
right,
but it's, a real degree, real thought, real smarts. And you make it so that kids really learn and are prepared to go out and do so. But most importantly, you price it at a cost plus basis.
I think this is happening already organically on the internet, not as an education system.
Right, because you get all the videos and that's why I taught myself.
DIY projects. Like people are like developing homes.
Oh, YouTube University is a thing. Yeah, for sure.
It really is. So I think the next step of that would be an organized version of it.
Pull it all together.
Yeah.
But make it so they cover all the bases and you have a curriculum and they have to graduate.
Yeah.
But it's $1,000 a year. And then I literally thought about, and I even talked to people in Dallas, I'm like, okay, what if I took over a community college? Made it free, did all the curriculum, and made it 2 years, but it'd be a badass 2 years. Okay, you could change shit like that.
You could take Brookhaven. That's not.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I talked,
That's cool.
Yeah, and so you could do that. And then the other thing is like, how do you reduce the cost of colleges? And so they're like, the Democrats are like, we're going to make college free. Fuck, you don't do that, because then it's just like when people can borrow all the money they want to pay for school, because they'll give you all you want because you can't bankruptcy your way out of it. So when you have all that money coming in, tuition goes up.
Yeah.
You're incentivizing the schools to charge more in a lot of ways.
Because there's no downside to them. They don't have to deal with it if someone goes broke or can't pay for it. But if you said, okay, I'm all for having free college for people who can't afford it. But what I would say is you put out to bid in every city area, right? Every, like DFW, the New York tri-state area. And you say one college is going to be free. Just one. The rest of you, you all can bid. But I'm going to pick one that's free, and we're going to do a 10-year or 20-year contract, and it's free. And there's going to be a limited number of students because of the size. Now the people who really need to go to the free school can go to it and get free college. But the more important thing is, by having a free college, it limits what everybody else is going to charge in the tri-state area, because they know they're competing with free. So they have to be better, and they can't be too expensive.
But if there's a limited amount of people who can go to that school, and we want everybody to go to college,
you can always add a second one or a third.
Got it.
But at least to start.
So you have something to keep costs down. You have a competitor, essentially, that's affordable, which is the idea of the city or state college system.
Yeah.
And
it's not bad. Like New York and LA are not bad as states.
Yeah, California has a good state school, and New York has a good state school system. Yeah, that isn't. But not you're basically saying not every state has that.
No.
So you end up going to one of these behemoth universities that's got 40 different pools for you to go swim at. You're spending $50,000 a year. You're not really getting an education.
Go to I'm going to Alabama because the football is great. I'm going to Georgia because the football.
Yeah.
Maybe the education's great there. I don't know, but it's still expensive, and you're still paying for all those amenities.
And the price just keeps inflating because they know you'll pay it. You can get loans.
Yeah, that's a good question. How do we fix inflation? There's so much conversation about inflation right now. Like, what is
inflation is fixed? The problem is the prices that are already up are already up.
Okay.
And so what you have to do, there's only a couple things you can do.
What do you mean by it's fixed?
In other words, the inflation rate is like 2 point whatever percent.
So it's readjusted. So it popped up to 12% or whatever.
9%, and it's come right back down.
And how do we tell that? Like, what is the indicator?
By the consumer price index. And so the increase from 1 year in the consumer price index, if it goes up 9% year over year, inflation is 9%. If it goes up 2.3% year over year, inflation is 2.3%. But, it's going back to what I talked about when the decision on the pricing of oil and gas. Remember when I said Trump convinced them to reduce production? That pushed up the price of gas, which made everything else expensive, which then pushed up the prices of things. But now we are where we are, right? So it's not about what happened before. And in order to overcome that, you can't all of a sudden say, okay, sell those tomatoes for less. You can't say, all right, I'm going to reduce the cost of energy or gas and it's going down, because people aren't, Trump says drill, drill, drill. Well, we've already been through that before, where if there's too much drilling, the price craters, and if the price craters, they're going to stop drilling.
Now, question.
So let me go back. Let me go before I lose this train of thought.
No, please go. But
so you're not going to all of a sudden say, here's how we're going to reduce the price of tomatoes, eggs, or whatever. So what you have to do is say, how are people going to make more money? Because when it was like this, everybody's in pain. Because prices went up too fast, and you go to the grocery store and you're freaked out by what you see. And then you look at your paycheck and you're like, fuck, it's not keeping up. And so the only way to change that is when you look at that paycheck and say,
inflate salary as well.
Yeah. And so are you giving those raises? So if you were making $1,000 a week and your grocery bill went from $500 to $600, that's pain. If you're making $1,000 a week and it goes to $1,200 and your grocery bill goes from $500 to $600 a month or whatever, right?
Now you're good.
You're good. And so you got to get those earnings up.
So so basically what we have to do is accept that this is where the dollar is. In other words, we're not going to bring down the buying power of the dollar, bring, I guess, up the buying power.
It's not so much the buying power of the dollar because it's domestic.
Right.
And so in inflation, so it's not 100% true. I'm wrong a little bit. So with inflation, when inflation goes up, your buying power relative to the past has declined.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to really change that dynamic, but you get more dollars.
So it's basically easier to adjust wages than it is to bring down the price of tomatoes.
Because if you're a manufacturer of widgets or whatever.
They're like, I'm not going to start charging less. Like, everybody accepted it's $8 now.
Right. Now, maybe like if no one's buying it, like Wednesday's reduced the price, McDonald's came out.
But this is this is why, you got to talk to like economists about this, because the fact that people are not buying as many widgets or whatever it is because they're not making as much money is going to force them to reduce those prices again.
On certain things, but there's certain things you can't. Grocery, you got to have eggs.
Well, to what he was saying is that now, basically, there's a delta that has happened since inflation. Now that inflation has been reduced, we haven't reduced those prices. Therefore, they're just making more money.
Well, it's not that their costs probably went up too. And so their cost to do everything probably went up.
Yeah.
And so when there's inflation, it's not just the things that consumers buy.
Yeah.
It's the inputs that go into making those
widgets.
Everything that all goes up. So some companies, like I've been in these conversations, hey, inflation's up, we can charge more even if our costs didn't go up.
And that's the gouging.
It's not so much, it's just what companies do. And
what's the dance with the Fed interest rate that affects prices?
When Fed interest rates go up high enough, then it's harder to borrow money, to invest in things.
Less liquidity, with less investment.
Right. And then but when interest rates are really low, like they were for 1 or 2%, then anybody can say, fuck, I can make more than 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
And so I'll borrow, build.
Essentially, money was free.
Money was free.
So why if inflation was so high, why did they wait so long to bring that?
Because they had to wait till things slowed down. Because the reason inflation went down is because it was harder for people to get money, for people to borrow money in that case, and banks were less likely to lend money, then when less money got down to the consumers. And when less money got down to the consumers, they spent less, so people had less ability to raise prices. Companies had less ability.
When there's less spending, they're buying less. Then all of a sudden the stores start going, we got to reduce prices because nobody's buying.
No one's buying our stuff.
It's like what causes essentially inflation is not this isn't the cause, but there's more money than there are things to buy, and that's when the currency just
supply and demand. Supply and demand.
But that's an interesting way to do it. Like when you make money essentially free. Like I'm too economically illiterate to realize it, but in that time when it was free, like you could get it for 1%. What was it? Like 1.5%. There was a time.
Like that's why Bitcoin, a lot of crypto went up because I'll
take out the 1.5%. I'll buy Bitcoin and I'm going to make what 30% when everyone's going crazy. All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. This right here, Fume. Okay, this right here is going to get you to stop smoking cigarettes. It's going to get you to stop smoking whatever the hell you want to stop smoking. If you're smoking vape, it's going to get you to stop doing that. Do you see this little cartridge? This right here has got all your flavor. That's all it is. Air. Flavored air. This is mint. Okay? This isn't going to give you the horrible shit that vapes give you, that cigarettes give you. This is going to get you off of it. It's going to satisfy that need to have something between your fingers and have you drag on it. Yes, that is your addiction. You're going to transfer it. It's going to be this. You're going to try it for a week. You're going to try it for 2 weeks. And then you're just going to continue it and you're going to stop doing that horrible stuff that's going to make you not spend time with your children, make you not spend time with your children's children. How much do you want to limit your life? How much less paddle do you want to play? There's so many things that those other evil things that I just spoke about will take away from you. And this can give you back that valuable thing, the most valuable thing in the world, time. Okay? Fume. Right here, tryfume.com. Use the promo code FLAGRANT. You're going to get a free gift with your order today. Let me just tell you this right now. They've served, over 300,000 customers? You can be the next success story. Quit all that other shit. Use this on your way out of those horrible lifestyles. For a limited time, you use the code FLAGRANT. You're going to get that free gift with your journey pack. They have different flavors. They have different styles. But you know what they don't have different? I don't know. I didn't think that far in the promotion. Point is, try Fume. That is FUM.com. Use the code FLAGRANT. Let's get back to the show.
All right, guys, listen up because I got to talk to you about something that hopefully you never need, but if you do, you know where to go. Sometimes you get wrongfully injured because of somebody else's negligence, maybe, I don't know, malfeasance. That shit sucks. You got to deal with health insurance companies who are going to try to nickel and dime you for everything. You're in pain. You're going to hospitals, dealing with doctor's appointments. That is all incredibly hard, but you know what's easy? If you get wrongfully injured, you could check out Morgan & Morgan pretty easily and get a claim very easily. Morgan & Morgan, for those of you who have not listened before, is America's largest injury law firm. And this is important. They've recovered over $20 billion for over 500,000 clients. 500,000 people have recovered quite a bit of money. So Morgan & Morgan clearly has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. And submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is so easy, guys. Like I said, if you get injured because of somebody else, that is hard, but submitting a claim is easy. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. And this part is important. Their fee is free unless you win. So if you want more information, go to thepeople.com/flagrant or dial #law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. Again, that is thepeople.com/flagrant or #law, pound 529 from your cell phone. And you already know this, but this is a paid advertisement. Let's get back to the show. Question about increasing wages. Is that, it seems like a very easy solution. Is that something you can just do? You can just increase wages?
Yeah.
Because if you're, to your point though, if it costs these guys more to make the goods because of inflation, then you're asking them to also pay extra wages. Does it not put strain on them as the employer?
It depends if you're selling enough, right? But it comes down to, like anybody here, if they're good and you want to keep them and they want to stay ahead of inflation, they're coming in.
Cut this off.
They're coming in and saying, but like to Kamala Harris's credit, she's saying we're going to increase minimum wage because if you're on, the national minimum wage is different here in New York. National minimum wage is $7.15. Yeah. There ain't nobody,
they can live on $7.50.
Yeah. Now, if you're just a kid, maybe whatever. But if you're 16 and working in fast food, okay. But like that's how you do it. And if you index the minimum wage to inflation, then everybody has a chance to keep up. And so you can't, I think she's made a mistake by talking about gouging. Price gouging is the thing. Like right now with Hurricane Helene, somebody's price gouging somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what it was all about. Where there's a crisis, you want to stop price gouging.
Yeah.
And 37 states have laws against price gouging. So she's just saying we'll make it national.
Yeah.
But it's not really a counter to that. The real counter, and I think they'll end up talking about this, the real counter is we're going to help increase wages. And the reality is they call it real wages when the amount of money that you're earning is higher than the amount of inflation. The real wages are, significantly up over the last year because inflation has gone down, but people have kept on getting their increases. So they're catching up on that inflation already.
Okay.
So that's been critically important. And then, you increase the minimum wage, you increase the other ways to increase productivity. So, she's talked about using AI to improve the military, invest in AI as a country. That's how you improve productivity. And actually productivity has started to go up. And if you look in manufacturing, there's twice as all this shit that I've been just geeking out on, right? I guarantee you once the election's over, I'm not remembering this shit, but there are 505,000 unfilled manufacturing jobs. And so when you talk about how do you improve productivity, you got to first have the people. And when there's demand for people, that also pushes up wages because when there's more jobs than there are people, you got to pay more to get them. So we're on the right track. The bigger problem, honestly, talk politics, Joe Biden can't sell shit. He's the worst salesman.
Just going to say that. I'm like, if things have gotten better during this administration, why does everybody still say, the economy's so bad?
It's interesting how you've been positioned online, and I think I felt guilty to it. You come out here, you're kind of you're saying Kamala wants to do some good stuff, but you're also saying that she's not good at communicating this. Obviously, you're shitting on Trump. You're saying Elon's the greatest entrepreneur ever, but you don't I think you're actually quite fair. I'm glad that you're sitting here because I think the positioning of you, and I'm sure that there's money maybe behind this, but the positioning of you is that I'm sure there's political benefit in positioning you as a radioactive operative.
By somebody else at me. Yeah.
No, I think it basically
me benefiting.
No,
to your detriment. I ain't getting shit out of it.
No, you're just getting hated online.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is if you have legitimate criticisms of the opposition, they have to make you radioactive that they can cut your legs out from under. Because if a guy like you is coming out and speaking some good, I think powerful truth, all of a sudden they got to go, we got to fucking react to this. We can't just go, oh, he hates me.
Right.
That's the easiest
that's what they
version
say.
of silence. Exactly. I don't know. I'm just trying to say. I think it was helpful to hear you out, but I interrupted you. Go.
What was I talking about? Oh, sales, right?
Yeah, Biden. So
oh my God, it drove me crazy. So put aside him kind of losing. And by the way, having talked to him multiple times, I think it really just accelerated over that period of time. He wasn't but put that aside. That's already in the past. But how they say sell the sizzle, not the steak.
I've never heard that term, but
you never have?
That's great.
Yeah, you sell the sizzle, you don't sell the fire. Fucking Biden sells the steak. He's going to tell you where the cow was born, what the fucking cow's name was, and how many, whatever. And he's going to talk about everything but the sizzle. He just couldn't sell, and they were pissed because I said that one time before, and they were pissed at me. Just somebody I knew, but that's the truth. He can't sell shit, and if they could sell, then we'd be having completely different conversations. Now, Kamala has been doing this 50 days now, when she stepped in. There's a process where she's got to learn to do it. It's just, when you went to working for yourself, doing a podcast is different than a comedy tour.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you have different things and you have to learn.
Yeah, it was just peculiar to see.
Can I steal this?
Yep, that's for
your
you.
water. Oh, okay.
It's just peculiar to see this immense support for her out of nowhere, when she hadn't even said anything. I think a lot of people are like, finally, she's here. She's our hero. And I think the knee-jerk reaction to anybody who at least tries to be unbiased when it comes to the election is, why the fuck are you excited? She hasn't even said anything. She isn't Biden. And I think there was some relief with that.
100%. Yeah.
And I think if I viewed it as relief and not, she's the one true savior for us all, I think I could have accepted it way more.
Yeah, I was bothered that there was no platforms on her website for a month, 2 months, whatever. No beliefs, nothing on it. Just hey, donate,
so much
buy
excitement.
merch.
Well, so two things there. Okay. So one, she did come out and she was the anti-Trump, not in terms of what she said about him, but just as opposed to I hate Taylor Swift, joy, right?
Yeah.
Positivity, which I think is important.
Yeah.
If you're going to try to bring people together, that's what you have to do, and I forgot the second part I was going to say. But
DNC, maybe the speech.
No. Okay, you're right. So the second part of that is if you all of a sudden just take over a company.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me take one step back. Everybody who's ever worked for a company thinks they're smarter than the boss and would do it differently than the boss. So when people say, well, why isn't she the same as Biden? Like everybody else, you know, you're going to do things different than your boss if you take over. But like now you take over and you can't just have everything in place. It wasn't like she was planning on running for president. All of a sudden, it was just like, bam, you're the one. You got to go out there. And she, you know, fell back on what she does best. She gives the speeches. She gets everybody happy. She gets everybody fired up. And then she started putting the pieces together, which makes sense.
You know, it's interesting about like taking over a company or even like getting a new player on your team. Like I'm a Knicks fan my whole life, right? Any new guy we get, the whole city is, nah, he's the truth. He's actually underrated. He's going to take us to a
everybody's
champion.
about their team, right?
So I wonder.
Here comes Cat, right?
Exactly.
Shout out, Cat. We love you. You're the greatest.
I think that was a good move, by the way.
I mean, great move. Great move. But there is that excitement when you've already committed to the team. I guess because I haven't committed to a team. I don't consider myself either one. So there's no reason for me to be excited. But if you are someone who's like, I identify as a Democrat, I'm voting Democrat every single time.
That's a huge plus.
She's Cat.
She's Cat.
She's Cat. We had this person.
Cat.
Exactly. We had this person that was not inspiring at all, and all of a sudden there's new leadership.
Bam.
Our team is going to be successful again.
Right, 100%. And now she's starting to talk, and they're like, it's going to be great. I'm going to come in, and we're going to do things right. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to learn the playbook. And so she's the new coach coming in.
Yeah, it was like low expectations, and she over-delivered. She did great in that first debate, and now all of a sudden people are like, wait a minute, I was excited, and now I'm not let down? Oh, wow. Okay,
exactly.
This could work out.
Because
and then look, she's still got more things to do.
Before Biden had that bad debate, like she did not know she was running. So I think if she would have just like jumped out there with policy and doing a whole bunch of interviews, she would have had way more missteps than if
she probably would have taken it from Biden. And the one thing she should not have been and isn't is fucking Biden.
But she has a tough time going, I disagree with him on that.
Well, because it's your boss.
And he's still
the boss.
in office. That is another thing. She can't say, he's fucking up because you're there co-signing it. So you got to co-sign the boss even though you're about to come in and kind of flip it. So that is a delicate
border,
balance.
Right? She's fucking changing everything on the border.
Oh, really?
What is she saying?
What is he? Yeah, you're right there. You're letting him in.
Yeah, I'm letting him in.
Someone's got to build a stadium.
Right?
Go.
He's like,
You know how Luka's brothers would do that shit, right?
No shit.
he's like any of them over
brothers.
7 feet, you know?
Can you play? I don't care where you're from. Can you play? Oh, my
No,
Lord.
why? Is she being harder on the border?
Yeah, because like Biden fucked up there again.
Yeah.
You know, he went, and I think a lot of this had to do with Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, where they were kind of like the trifecta together, and they fucked up opening up the borders. They were just too open.
Yeah.
And I actually, here's my take on Elon Musk on this, right? I think Elon Musk comes across online as an immigration troll.
Yeah.
But I think what he really thinks, I'm guessing, is that because he's an immigrant, he thinks when just people are flooding across the border and people hate those people, it brings on hate to all immigrants. And I think that really is what is underneath his hate for them, that he doesn't really hate them, but it's just like, you're bringing on hate. All this shit is bringing on hate for me and my family and who I am.
So there are people who worked hard to legally immigrate here, and they're getting a lot of this hate.
Made
from
look
people
bad.
that,
Yeah. And I think that's part of why, you know, some Latinos and, you know, other foreign nationalities, right, that are here legally are looking.
Oh, they're supportive of it because they're like, I'm getting all this backlash.
Right. And I think that's kind of Elon's way. And I think Kamala recognized that. I really, really do. Now, I haven't had this conversation with her team on it, but I think, you know, and I think Biden was late to the party to figure it out. And so he opened the gates too much, and she had to play along because that's the boss, and that's supposed to do.
Why would they open the gates? And I understand there are some certain.
They didn't open them, right?
Yeah.
But they, you know,
they were looking the other way.
Yeah. It just didn't do as good a job as they could.
Yeah.
And I really, nobody thinks they did a great job.
But you hear all these conspiracies about. And this could be like absolute nonsense. But you hear these conspiracies like, oh, they want to let in all these people so they can eventually vote. I've looked it up. They cannot vote.
They cannot vote. That's Elon's trolling.
So that is obviously
that's just trolling. Yeah,
but
that's
is
trolling.
it that like one day they're children will have more empathy with the party that allowed them to be here, and maybe they would have voted in that direction?
It didn't work for Obama if all these people now are not voting for her.
Right.
You know, it's just...
So what would be the justification for it? What is it?
Just so think about why somebody leaves their country.
Yeah.
They don't leave because every day's a holiday in fucking paradise.
Yeah.
They leave because something's fucked up for some reason.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. There's got to be a part in your heart that says, if you're in Haiti and there are gang wars and people you know are getting macheted to fucking death.
Yeah.
I'm okay if you figure out how to get over here.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the sentiment, but then it went too far. There's a point of diminishing returns where you have to say, yes, I feel for them and I want to help them, but this is not the right approach to do.
And there may have also been some people taking advantage of that empathy. People who are not in dire situations, who are like, hey, I'm going to catch a lick right here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's easier to get a job in America than it would be here.
Or just, whatever it is, right? Yeah, of course. People are going to game the system one way or the other.
Yes.
Always going to happen no matter what.
This is a perfect example of what we were talking about earlier, where like the bureaucracy just gets kind of, what was it? It's like runaway bureaucracy, where you don't want to be the senator that comes out and closes it because you're where your constituents would be upset. So you don't say anything. It just continues to grow. And now you have a problem. All these people are hurt. Nobody's speaking for them.
It just blew up and now it's blown up in your face.
Okay, so we can all at least recognize that there is an issue at a border because some people act like there isn't. I think Kamala a little bit has been like, what are you talking about? We've deported the most people.
Well,
she's like doing protection for Biden when you almost want her to be like, we need it to be stronger.
Well, see, pay attention to what she's doing. And so she said she'd signed that bipartisan bill that Trump said don't do it, that would add 1,500 Border Patrol agents and add all these other features. And Biden actually did this executive order that said, we're going to get the number of people crossing the border down to 1,500, and said that just because you step foot on American soil, which used to be the rule, doesn't give you the right to apply for asylum, which is 180 degrees from where it used to be. And to me, that's making a successful move. That's doing the right thing. And now when you look at the actual numbers, and you guys can actually look up the numbers, the number of border encounters is what they call it, now is the same as when Trump left office pre-pandemic. So it's not like what he was doing had better impact. But the question, and here's the zillion-dollar question, what do you do with the people who are already in here? Right. So you saw some of these numbers that Fox News put out that came from, 13,000 murderers and 16,000 rapists. True, factual information. What they didn't say, though, was they didn't just come across the last couple of years. Some of those people that are in the country are in prison, are under indictment, or have been here 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. They're trying to make it sound like this all happened under Biden. It didn't.
Hate that.
Didn't. That's part of the bullshit that comes from, like you said, if somebody disagrees with you, they're going to find something to throw at you.
It's easier to make you radioactive than to have like a discussion about your ideas.
Great. They are great.
Both sides are great at that.
Yeah,
like the Democrats just call you racist or sexist or whatever it is, and then the Republicans call you a cuck.
Right.
You're a pussy.
But one comes from the candidate, right? And that's the difference.
Yeah.
So, but now we are where we are. So the question is whether it's 11 million, 13 million, Trump says 21 million people who are not American citizens and aren't supposed to be here. What do you do? Trump says you just deport them, but he doesn't say how. And how he does it is everything. Because, can you imagine, is so-and-so here? Hide. Walk in.
Yeah.
Remember that, probably before your time, there was a little kid.
Elian Gonzalez.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like guns in his face was one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Do you want every Hispanic neighborhood, every Haitian neighborhood to have 10 Elian Gonzalez's?
Yeah.
He went back, right? Didn't we
He ended up going back,
because he couldn't throw. I think they tested his arm.
He said he was 12 and he was 22.
That was the problem. We're like, the kid is throwing 74 at 12 years old with location. We're like, we got to keep him. We find out he's 32-year-old Dominican guy.
Yeah.
He's not even from Cuba. He's Dominican.
Right? Doesn't matter.
If they find you on a boat off the coast of Florida, just say, I am Cuban.
Right?
They're bringing you.
Mark's my uncle. But think about it. Okay, Elian Gazelle.
Yeah, that's a
example.
bad look to be knocking on every door and sending him back. So you're basically looking at, is there a tasteful way to do it, or do you find a way to not repatriate, but do you find a way to give these people some form of citizenship?
What Harris is saying is, if they're a criminal, you gone.
Yeah.
You gone.
Yeah.
You know, all these, you out.
Yeah.
If you're not a criminal, that asylum process, you have to go through the paperwork and fill out, and we're going to track you on it to make sure it works. Now, she gets a little vague from there, at least as far as what I know.
Yeah.
And so, but Trump, on the other hand, just says, you gone.
And I think that taps into the emotional reaction a lot of people have. Maybe they don't have a job. They've seen their job get passed on to somebody who's not, legally here. They have a lot of issues with it. So they're like, you know what? Fuck you. That guy took my job. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not arguing with the sentiment.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But you have to think through. If you're an informed voter, you have to think through. What if Elian Gonzalez is everybody? If that's your family, what the fuck are you doing?
What's Trump's approach? How is it different from Obama's approach?
Obama was the deporter in chief. Yeah, he was.
And I remember hearing some of those stories.
Yeah, no,
he
didn't just yank him out, but he sent you the paperwork first. And there was a process.
Obama didn't even let his dad come.
He didn't want him.
Obama sent his dad back.
Go back to Kenya, bro. You can't hoop. Go.
But no, that is, I don't think that we should necessarily ascribe the term racist or xenophobic to people who want there to be a strong border. And I think we got to get away from that.
100%.
Yeah.
So there are Democrats that do that, particularly online.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to call you names online just like they call me names, you names, all that shit. But from the presidential candidate, you're only hearing that shit from one side.
Yeah.
You're not hearing it from both sides.
Yeah.
You don't hear her talking shit about anything, about anybody not named JD or Donald.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do think it is up to her to not let those extreme constituents sway her messaging. Because
agree.
Most Americans want, I think, a strong border.
100%.
And if they don't, it's kind of peculiar. You're like, well, why wouldn't you want a strong border?
Again, if you think that you're fucking going to get macheted if you don't come, but
we're all immigrant kids here.
Yeah,
we believe in immigration.
I'm the second generation.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for immigration.
I'm second generation.
But you're allowed to have.
There's rules.
Only white people do.
Yeah. White people jobs, right?
No. I think that's good. Okay. I listen. I know that you're a busy guy, and we don't have tons of time
this
here.
shit, man. I'm loving it.
We just have a lot of questions for you.
No, I'm loving it. Keep it rolling. I got nowhere to go.
How do you feel about the climate of this election? Trump. 2 assassination attempts. Do you feel it's the fault of the media?
That's fucked up, right? No, it's nobody's fault. Like I said, there's 330 million people in this country.
Okay.
You're not going to be shocked if it's two idiots that do something.
Yeah.
Now, would it be crazy if it was Haitian dude that did something? Then you can maybe point a direct line, but how can you account for that dude, the second one who fortunately didn't get a shot off, he was insane.
But it's still different. Yeah. It's not like this is happening every time.
No, it's happening. Obama, did you read that story about someone walked up to Obama's car and had a gun?
Oh, I did hear that.
I think that there's assassination attempts on every president. We just haven't seen them this close since
and actually getting
the one in Trump.
Yeah.
The one in Trump was, Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford got shot at and then they missed.
I think a quarter of all presidents, there's an assassination.
That's what he said. Trump said that, yeah.
They're like gas station attendants.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous fucking job.
Yeah, it's like GTA.
Did you think about that shit? When you're considering running, you got to go, there's a 25% chance I take a bullet.
Yeah. That doesn't make me happy, no.
Yes. I get the vote in your family.
Yeah.
It's an insane endeavor.
Are you going to ask your family every 4 years to see if they change their vote?
I'm done with that.
Oh,
it's a one-time vote.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done with that idea.
Yeah.
But
it does seem like you can make a lot of change without having to. If you can change the way health insurance is done, that's president has been able to
exactly
do that.
Right. And that's been part of the conversation with myself. And that's my ego, right? That's my arrogance. It's just fuck. When I'm said and done and I'm 6 feet under, if they put he fucked up healthcare, fire. Yeah. People are like
done.
Yeah. That's sign me up for that shit. As opposed to he was president and fucking unemployment was 4.7%. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume great. You're like you're a guy who's accomplished a lot of great things. You probably think about legacy a lot. Is this the thing that you're
Not
like,
a lot.
this would
No,
be the
just until
hallmark
this. Just until this.
So this, you want to be the hallmark of your legacy is I disrupted the entire healthcare industry.
Yeah, because if I cared about legacy, I like put my name on buildings and dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Or buy a sports team.
Yeah, buy a sports team. But I sold it. Yeah, so much. Yeah. Sports team doesn't give you a legacy. Typically not like a good legacy, like we're in New York. And I like Jimmy Dolan. I was one of the owners that really liked Jimmy. He's a good dude.
Shout out Jimmy. Great job at the Sphere. The Sphere is fucking remarkable.
Yeah.
It's the shit.
You guys might need one in Dallas, man. I mean that sincerely.
For real.
It was breathtaking.
No, I remember going there when it was just being built.
Jerry Jones assassination attempt. That's what we need in Dallas.
Don't even say that. Don't
I
even
know.
say that. I like Jerry. I actually like Jerry a lot.
Yeah, because you can never look bad with Jerry.
Fuck that. Come on.
You're the best owner in the world. That fucking guy.
Yeah, you're the salvation to everybody in Dallas.
See, you weren't a Cowboy fan born. You moved to Dallas. If you were born Dallas Cowboy fan, you would know.
No, I know.
He
I
sucks.
grew up in Pittsburgh. We got the Pirates. And every time I went to Pittsburgh last week and saw some of my guys, I can't go 5 feet without saying, buy the Pirates.
Yeah.
Come on, Yins guys. Buy the Pirates.
Come on, Yins guys.
Buy the Pirates.
And would you?
No.
Cool. You're done with sports teams?
Yeah, no more sports. I mean,
Damn it, Cowboys.
if my kids get older and decide that that's really something they want to
Do it together.
yeah, then I can see doing it together.
What about there's a thing
I
with
feel like Biden.
no, but I have a question about this. There's a thing with buying a sports team, right, where you get to depreciate the value.
I don't know if it's still the case. When I first bought it,
Can you break
could
down that tax loophole?
So it was you get to depreciate the value of your player contracts.
I thought it was the value of the entire team.
No, I think it was just a player. I don't remember. It's been 20 some years, but I think it was just the player contracts that you could buy. Yeah, you can look that up. I don't remember. But now that it's just so fucking expensive to buy a team.
Yeah.
Like you got to be richer than me to be able to buy an NFL team or even an NBA team by yourself.
Yeah.
Those days are like long gone. Like I walked in. It was funny as fuck. Like this is right when we sold broadcast.com and I was just getting paid and I still had Yahoo stock. And literally one day someone would say, how could you pay $285 million, which at that time was the highest for an NBA.
insane.
I remember that.
They were like, you're an idiot. You're fucking. But that very day, the stock price of Yahoo went up like $100, which paid for the whole team, right? It just paid for the whole team. Wow. And I was like, it's funny money. It's all good.
Now you moved to Dallas in like 82. Yeah. What brought you to Dallas? And then was that the team you always wanted to buy? Or
No. So first of all, I went to Indiana University and I had a bunch of buddies that were down in Dallas. And they're like, you got to come down here. You got to come down here.
What was the reasoning?
They said it's fun. Weather's a whole lot better than Pittsburgh or Indiana.
Yeah.
And the economy is good. And the women are hot as fuck. I'm like, let's go. I had a 77 Fiat X19 and it had a hole in the floorboard. It was just a junker. Yeah. And one of those you had to put oil in. And I got there and there were 5 guys living in a 3-bedroom apartment. And I'm like, let me just stay for a couple of days till I find a place to work. Stayed there 8 months, 9 months. Got a job first working as a bartender / barback at a place called Alon's on Greenville Avenue in Dallas. Then got a job working in software, and that was my first real tech job. And that's what kind of set me off. And then at 9 months in, I got fired, and I said, fuck it, I'm a lousy employee, and started a company called Micro Solutions. And that was my first real business. Built that up to like 30 million plus in sales. Sold it for $6 million. I got 2. Another guy brought in, got 2, and then all the employees. We had 80 employees, split $1 million, and sold that. I was 29, 30, bought a lifetime pass in American Airlines.
Yeah, that's
partied
awesome.
like
you're one of those?
Yeah.
Partied like a motherfucking rock star.
So wait a minute, you still have the lifetime pass?
I gave it to a friend. I gave it to my dad. My dad passed, and then I gave it to a guy that I work with, saves me money on and all that.
Wait, you can gift the
They
pass?
let you do it one time.
One time. They gave me a second time because I stopped using it because I got a plane. So they cut me some slack and let me give it to somebody. You got a problem with that?
What an asshole this guy is, right? I'm hyped that he gets free snacks. I'm like, there's unlimited pretzels on the American Airlines flight. Wait, so what is the pat? It's anywhere you want.
$125,000 one time.
Look at you doing your homework. Yeah. Well, paid. So I sold it. What's that?
You and companion.
Yeah, me and a companion.
Oh, yeah, you and a friend, I
So,
forgot,
I feel it's worth it.
I sold my company, got the
Stop
check,
selling it immediately.
went out. I don't know if you like. They have them here, the old time steakhouses where they have the plugs for the phones, and you can like call. I'm fucked up, just fucked up out of my mind. And my buddies are going. I mean, like can barely speak, and I like bang my head on the table. And my buddy's like, "What are you going to get? Like another car? I'm not into cars. Another house? I got a house. You know what I want? I want to see if they have a lifetime pass in American Airlines. And you know how like when you travel enough, you remember the number. So it's like 1-800-433-6464. Bam. Do you guys sell lifetime passes? And they were like, let me put you in touch with the Air Pass department. I'm like, hello, here we go. And so they sent me an application, 125 grand for me and anybody else for the rest of my life.
To be fair, it's 125 grand in like the early 90s, so it's more than it is now.
Okay, so whatever the fuck it was.
But also, American is the hub in Dallas. That's their
right
fucking
there.
hub.
So I figured
the
out
American Airlines Arena too?
Yeah.
So the hub is in
American Airlines.
Wow, you were.
I figured out 12 cents. 12 cents a mile. 12 cents a mile. Like, and so I moved to LA because I broke up with my girlfriend, moved to LA, and I was living in Manhattan Beach, and no lie, like I'd go out to a club.
Wow.
You been to Vegas? Let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Vegas. One of my buddies.
What a dream.
Let's go to Madrid. Okay, let's go to Madrid.
First class.
Want to go to Moscow? Okay, let's go to Moscow.
Oh, that's
It was
fire.
insane. It was insane.
You don't have to pay the taxes, nothing. You just.
It's done.
If I did, the statute of limitations is long gone. Yeah.
Did American Airlines not think they were going to be around for a while? Like,
No. They like.
Or
most
was it
people
like
just,
$1 million today?
Yeah, it's probably like $1 million today.
Okay, that's a lot of
But they
fucking
stopped
money.
them because there were some dudes that would just like fly. Because I also got my air miles.
You stopped it.
No. Right? They're literally like a guy. I remember reading about it when they talked about they closed it, and I remember reading why. Because like a dude would fly from Dallas to Oklahoma City and back, Dallas to Arkansas and back. Do the double miles, triple miles, and so he just had like a zillion miles he was giving out, and that was costing him a fortune.
Oh, he would fly and then give his miles to homies.
other people.
What a guy, dude. What a
Okay.
mensch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, do you know the guy Andy Beal?
Yeah.
The banker?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a book that I read randomly
About
about
poker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read the book, but I know the story.
Okay, and
He's actually a good dude. I like him. His kids are really cool.
so there's this banker in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, and he got into poker and he really got obsessed with it, and he thought that he could take on the best poker players in the world if he raised the stakes enough to make them uncomfortable.
Right.
So the idea was if they're just playing for like lower stakes, that he's going to get washed. But once you get those professional guys thinking about $1 million a hand, they'll start freaking out and they'll freeze up, and he can handle the losses.
Yeah, because he's really good at math. Math genius.
Math genius. But there's another thing that impressed me about him. He tried to basically start SpaceX before SpaceX. It wasn't SpaceX, but it was a private satellite positioning company.
That I didn't really know much about.
So he was sending rockets into the sky, and the idea was he could do it for cheaper than NASA. And the U.S. government undercut him. And they started doing it at a loss.
Just to fuck him up.
Just to fuck him up. Because, and I understand you want to control information.
It's still fucked up.
This is a different time.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, like no one really talks about this guy. I'm not saying
he likes it that way. He likes it that way.
Yeah, he seems to be private. But like Elon figured out a way to do it, and now it seems like the government works seamlessly with Elon.
Not so much. Yeah, they still fuck with him, but still.
But it's a better relationship.
And he's a
they
trip.
straight up undercut it. Like he found a way to do it cheaper. He could get the things up in the sky, and and NASA just came in and was like, we'll do it.
Yeah, he's
cheaper
not a
than
fan
that.
of the government. That I know. Yeah, he's definitely not. But he's a good dude, man. I like him. He's just like loud and just like not real social, but social. Like somebody you can't just sit and chit chat normally, but he's just loud and fun. Let's go, type guy. So I like him. He comes to Mavs games, I chill with him. His kids come. Good dude.
Interesting, like disposition to go after something like that. Like you interface, and you are one of these people. You interface with a lot of these guys that I guess are big dreamers, and they can execute these big things. Do you find that there's a similar trait that you all have?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. I think there is. I think like Andy's a good example. You just got to be a learner because you can't just fucking wing it. If you're trying to build something, either you can build it or you can't, and you got to learn the shit required to build it. Yeah. If you're going to run a business, you got to. You had to learn the podcast business. Yeah. You had to learn the tour business. Yeah. You had to learn the comedy business. And if you didn't, people are going to fuck with you. And if you can't do it, then you're not going to build anything.
Yeah, information is the gap, really.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to put in that
Don't
intellectual.
want to put in the
heavy
time,
lifting.
man.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to do the work. Like, I can't even tell you how many hours a day. Like, some of the numbers, I don't even know how to remember that shit.
Yeah.
But why the fuck was I even reading that shit in the first place? Right?
Yeah.
Because I just read and learn. Because to me, like, before the internet, I used to walk through bookstores and just like sit on the floor and read books I couldn't afford.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, one idea. Just give me that one idea that propels me. And one piece here, one piece there, one piece there. So I learned a lot about business. And now, like up on Shark Tank, any type of business can walk in, and before the other sharks even figure what the fuck's going on, I know what their business is. I know exactly what's going on and how it's going to work.
Sometimes you tell them. Here's the kind of business you are.
Yeah, and you don't even know, right? They don't even know. You got to know what business you're in, but you got to learn. Like, what are the skills? You got to be curious. You got to be agile because shit changes, and you got to be able to sell. You got to be able to sell your tour. You got to be able to sell your sponsors. You got to be agile because shit's changing every day. Technology's changing. Sponsors changing.
How much do you attribute to your killer instinct as the CEO when you're looking at other people that are running companies? Like, are you comparing them to yourself? No. Are you?
Not really at all. I mean, honestly, like, there's investments I've made where I still haven't met the people.
Really?
Yeah. Because I do a lot by email, and I'll just barrage you with questions via email, and I can tell by how you answer whether you know your shit or not.
Oh, so you are assessing their personality?
Yeah, but not necessarily the personality, but their knowledge.
Got it.
Because if you don't have the knowledge, your personality don't mean shit.
I just asked that because, like, we had Dana on the podcast. Dana White runs UFC.
Yeah.
Love
and
Dana.
he is so relentless.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, obviously, I'm nowhere close to the position to hire a Dana, but I would understand why somebody would invest in him.
Oh, for sure. He's a beast. He's a motherfucking beast.
Yeah.
And I respect the shit out of him. We disagree on some shit.
Yeah.
We almost got into a fight one time.
No way.
In a fucking bar.
Wow.
Dana tells the story because I was too fucked up to remember.
He used to box back in the day, too.
Yeah, he would have kicked my ass. For real.
Okay, go. What happened?
I would have got my chops in, but he would have kicked my ass. But we were at a club in Vegas and just started talking shit to each other for whatever reason. Because remember, like I told you with Trump, I was doing the MMA stuff, and it kind of competed. And so there were a lot of fighters like Fedor who didn't fight for Dana because he didn't think that he paid enough and this and that. So they were coming to me, and we were starting to put together some fights. And for whatever reason, we got into it. I don't remember all the details. And Dana told me more than I remember. I kind of remember it, and it was just like, more drunk shit. But yeah, he said it almost happened. It's funny because we did an interview together where we both got interviewed at the same time,
really?
and he was talking about it, and I was like, what? Oh yeah.
But he's one of those guys. He's like, he is just going to walk through the wall. Like, he's
He's
just
a
going to
beast. He's a
unstoppable.
motherfucking beast.
Yeah.
And I imagine when I thought, at least, when you're looking at people that are running businesses, and I wonder if that's also how he thinks about it, you have a certain personality, a certain disposition that you're looking for to lead a company. There are certain people they're going to let it
But
rip.
see, that kind of personality, like me or Dana or even Elon, you're not working for somebody else.
So that's the other thing. It's like, do you see that in some people and go, this is going to be a problem?
For sure. Like,
You wouldn't just blindly write him a check though and be like, you got
well, no,
this.
even like to
do that?
hire
Do
him.
you-
No, I've written checks to people I've never met before, like millions of dollars to people and I've done really well on it. But in terms of hiring people, and I really suck at hiring. I admit it. I know it. So I always try to get but if somebody's like that, you're not going to be an employee for long.
But what if you make him the head of the company, you give him a piece of the company?
Still, he's not like, it's still my company. And if it's what I want, then he'll be telling me, fuck you.
So with that type of personality, you need to just invest in them.
Like, it's okay to get a job to learn, and get your shit together. Cause you can be 21, 22 out of college and you might have that personality,
but you don't have the chops, you don't have the information,
exactly.
you
don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And then sometimes not having the knowledge is to your benefit because you don't know what you don't know and you're not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
And that's the way I was when I first got started and I was the youngest guy in the room. I was like, oh, you're an idiot. I'm like, okay, right, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you ain't going to stop me. And so, if somebody has that type of attitude, they just got to figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
And it may not even be you want to give them an investment because they might zigzag and, and pivot 50 times.
Was that you though? Like,
No, I never
was it
had
hard
to pivot
for you to
a
work
lot.
for people?
Oh, yeah, to work for people?
Yeah.
Oh, I was the worst.
You needed to do it your way.
Yes. I mean, like, I got a job at Mellon Bank right out of college. And
Pittsburgh, I assume.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
Okay.
And so I wasn't there a long time. And so I got this job and I'm reading this stuff and I see this thing. I thought, oh, yeah, the CEO of Mellon Bank, who had tens of thousands of employees, one of the biggest top 20 bank at the time. And I just sent him a note to the CEO saying, hey, this can help you. And he sent me a thank you note back. And I'm thinking, okay, I just want to help my company make money. And so then I did this thing called the Rookie Club, where I got a bunch of people who started right around me. And I went and found some VPs to go out to a bar, have a drink with us and talk to us about the company. Mm-hmm. My fucking boss went nuts, just nuts.
Why?
Because he was like, you didn't do this through me and you didn't, work it all out.
Your direct report boss?
Yeah, the guy I reported directly to.
Not the big boss of the company.
No. My direct report and just went nuts on me. And
nice.
I literally started to cry. I was it was bad. I was like, I was just so emotional because I just thought I was doing the same thing. When I say cry, I wasn't sobbing, but I'm like, oh, my contacts hurt. You know how sometimes you're just there and you're emotional and that tear comes and it's like, you're not sobbing, but
I can't wait to Trump's next video is that he's a crier.
Ryan Cuban, that's what
He cried like a girl.
Bring it, Donald. But yeah, so like I get the little tear go, my fucking contacts, but yeah, I was not a good employee. And then, like I told you, got the software job I got, Your Business Software, got fired there.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just wasn't. But at that point, when I started that company, Micro Solutions, after I got fired from Your Business Software, I'm sleeping 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment. I'm sleeping on the floor. I was the last one in. So I didn't even have a drawer. I had nothing. So I had fucking nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And literally my car had broken down, that Fiat had dusted. And the way I got a car, I'm with my buddies. We're driving up by Richland College.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
My mom went there.
We're driving by Richland College, and there's a fucking old school Trans Am on the side of the road. And it's just sitting there. It doesn't look, it's not wrecked. It's just, I'm like, I know for a fact, because of my experiences, somebody didn't pay the note on that car. It's just sitting there. So I opened the door, and right there was the pink slip and all the loan information right there on the seat of the car. I call it the bank. I said, my credit's for shit, right? But I found this car for you. Would you let me take over the payments?
Wow.
That's how I got a car.
Now, I don't make these arguments a lot, but like if a black guy did that, he would be shot immediately.
I'm not going to say that.
Because I was like, you just open up somebody's car. What the fuck?
Well, there's nobody around. It wasn't like there were people there. It wasn't like it was in a lot. It was literally on the side of the road with nothing around. Nothing around. No, I'm not going to just like... Even me, right? I'm not going to do that. No, it was on the side of the road. There was nobody
Just
around.
be honest, you were about to steal the car and then you got lucky. You know what I mean? That's what really happened. You saw a nice Trans Am on the side of the road.
My hot wiring skills were pretty good. No,
imagine.
I'm curious to young entrepreneurs or business owners. What advice would you give them to either scale or look for investors?
Don't.
Wait,
don't scale or don't look for investors.
Don't worry about. You grow your business at the rate your business grows. If you're worried about, everybody wants their business to grow bigger, and you want to make more money. One of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is they worry about the top line more than the bottom line. If I can get, getting to $1 million, that feels good.
But if you're spending $1 million,
or if you're losing money, or if you're hardly making any money, would you rather, hit $1 million and $5 million and $10 million and then be losing money because you're spending it on growth? Or would you rather do $800,000 and put $200,000 in your pocket and then use that money to figure out how to grow more profitably? And so the biggest mistake they make is focusing on sales over profits. And they also, in terms of raising money, man, unless you are absolutely positive, you don't want to borrow money to start a business because it goes from being your business to the bank's business. And the bank wants that payment back. And if you don't pay them back, you're done and it's over. And in terms of raising money, like if you've invested in any of your friends' companies or invested in any companies, no, okay.
I just have my own, but I'm asking you.
Right, but if somebody gives you money, or if you give somebody money, the expectation changes.
Yeah.
I would rather tell somebody, get a second job and save your money until you got enough. Now, if it's too expensive, it's too much, start smaller.
Okay.
If you need some equipment, like you need, a mold that you have to pay for, and it's 60 grand to make the product that you want to make and send it out, then, maybe, but the richest motherfuckers are the ones that own a big percentage of their companies.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if all that blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it, you don't want to be coughing up 80% of it.
Yeah.
Because other
If you can
people
keep
gave you
it-
some money. Keep
yeah,
it.
if you keep it. Because to be a billionaire, there's one thing every billionaire has in common: luck. There's something that happened that made him lucky. For me, like when we started the streaming business as AudioNet, like we had no idea where it was going. And then all of a sudden, the internet stock market just blew up. If the internet stock market hadn't blown up, I wouldn't be sitting here. It'd be like one of those sliding door movies, right? Poof,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be there.
So you're saying it was the timing of the idea?
Yeah. Timing and the fact that the internet stock market blew up. Like,
Because that purchase from Yahoo.
right? Because we went public. Like we went public and we had the largest first day jump in stock price of any company in the history of the stock market when we went public. And that all of a sudden I was worth $350 million. And then the stock market just kept on going up and up and up and up and up. And we were like, oh, fuck. Me and my partner, Todd, we could be billionaires. Like, for real. And I'll never forget. Never, ever, ever forget. So back in the day on a PC, like you use Yahoo Finance, and you know how you hit the F5 key to refresh? I'm getting up, I'm naked, I'm standing in front of my PC, because I know I'm close. Hit $1 billion, did my little naked billionaire dance, went back to work. But it takes luck. And I'll never forget that, that moment.
What was the expectation going into it? Did anybody say you guys could get the B? Okay.
We knew that was possible because I remember having a meeting with our employees and saying, look, either this thing is going to be worth $5 billion or more dollars, or we fucked it up. Because the idea of taking audio and video and putting it on the internet, nobody was doing it at the time. And it wasn't like no one was going to think of it, but nobody was doing it. And we just went full bore, just balls to the wall. And we were YouTube long before YouTube, like 10 years before YouTube even, 11 years before YouTube even started. Yeah. And like we literally dominated all things multimedia on the internet. The first anything that's ever streamed, we did it. No doubt about it. Yeah, it was insane. So we knew we were killing it. And, but then when Yahoo comes along and offers us, $5.7 billion in stock.
$5.7 billion. So they offered you $5.7 billion in Yahoo stock.
Yahoo stock.
You get the Yahoo stock. Do you liquidate?
I couldn't.
For how long?
6 months. And so what I did was I took every penny that I had and I checked with my lawyers and I shorted the internet index. And because it only
as a protection for your 5.7
every penny.
So it's
I
like
had,
taking insurance out on your NBA contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy,
Very smart.
So just in case the internet bubble pops, you're protected on the opposite side.
Right?
Did it pop in that time?
Well, not that time, right? So I lost that money. But what I did immediately when I was allowed to sell it, because I couldn't sell it all at once, it was just crater the market, whatever. I did something called a hedge.
Okay.
And what the hedge is, you can sell options. So I sold call options, which gives somebody paid me for the right to buy my shares of stock at a higher price at some point in the future. And I took that money and I used it to buy puts, which protected me in case the price of my stock went down. And so
this is like
and it was called, so when it popped, I actually made more money.
Wow.
It was called one of the top 10 trades on Wall Street in Wall Street history.
Okay,
That was
so
just
you made
insane.
the 5.7 billion.
Yeah,
and
5.7 wasn't all mine, so I made like a third of it.
Okay, so you're at about
1.9 minus taxes and bullshit. Yeah.
Boom. But you're not being taxed yet, right? Because
Not yet, because I hadn't sold it. But
right. So of that 1.9, how much do you make when you short it?
So when I shorted, I lost the $20-some million. When I shorted the index, which was the first protection, I lost all that money.
That's fine. Doesn't matter.
I was happy about that.
It's good. You'd rather keep the
stock, and then because then, like the next day, I could put on the hedge, which is to sell the calls and buy the puts, and that worked out over 3 years because I didn't want it all coming in, so it was all planned out over 3 years, and pre-tax, I probably made an extra $40 million just because of that.
So you got your 1.9 out.
Not plus the next,
Plus
a little
another
vig.
30 or 40.
Yeah, plus a little vig. And then, it wasn't all at once. It was like over 3 years. And then I had to pay the taxes and all that stuff, which I was glad to do,
So you pay the taxes. Let's say you.
But let me just tell you, right in whatever it was, $250 million check.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Oh no, because it's what 20% the corporate tax
Well,
rate.
back then it was even more. Back then it was even more, and which is I didn't care. I didn't fucking I was like,
you got the fuck you money.
hey, I got the fuck you money.
Yeah.
Do you? And I know we got to wrap this up soon. But do you, when you make all the money that you ever needed, did you go through a time where like you were concerned about motivation, where you were concerned about like what you want to do with the rest of your life? Like, was there ever like a sadness that came over you?
No, not really, because I mean, I'm competitive. I like to compete.
So you knew that you had to channel that into something else.
Yeah, I
you
knew
weren't
I was,
like, I'm going to retire.
Yeah,
and chill
if
on the
anything,
beach.
like everybody gets imposter syndrome at some level.
Yeah.
And including me. And so it was like, okay, can I do it again? Can I,
So interesting. Even doing it once, you're like, did I just get lucky? Can I do it again? You win the NBA championship. That's still not enough. You got to keep going. So at a certain point, when you have fuck you money, your family's good, everyone around you is good, you still have to keep on getting back on the bike to be a human being. Meaning, like, you can't just sit back, relax, because that's what
Not
you
me,
got.
anyways. Not me. Different people are different. Maybe I guess some people could write a book or do other bullshit.
Yeah.
But to me, business is a sport.
You enjoy the act
I
of it.
love, I tell people, if you're going to compete with me, I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah,
That's just, it's like, I'll still go out there and pretend to play basketball.
Yeah.
Can't do what I used to, but at the same time, I still want to compete. And if someone wants to bang with me in the paint, I'll bang. I don't care if you're 20 years old.
Let's get after it.
Let's compete,
That's interesting. And I think that's a good mentality, because I think there are people that reach certain levels of success and then they retire. And I think they're kind of miserable.
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
Have you experienced that with some people?
I've talked to other people that I'm retired. Like some of my friends that I grew up with, it's not that they made a lot of money, but, they worked a job the whole time and now they're retiring. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
They didn't love the job. You love what you do.
I love what I do. What are you going to do? Jerk off all day? Here's my Tadilafil for, 90.
That is interesting. Falling in love with the process and then just transferring that process to a new goal.
It's like sports. You guys play sports and you just get into it.
Yeah.
Why do you go and play pickup all the time? Couple reasons: that sound and that feel, the ball going through the hoop, right? And then just the competition.
Yeah.
Like talk trash, you're out there. Like that's the beauty of pickup.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere in the world and like I've been and hoop and play and people all know the same rules.
Yep.
And you talk some trash but not too much and bullshit. But if you win, it feels good. And
the weekend is made.
Yeah. And it's just like business is the same way to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's good advice. I think a lot of us, like, especially in entertainment, you're like, okay, I'm going to get to this point, and then once I do that, I don't have to do anything else. And it's like, no, the joy has always been the craft.
Yeah, and plus, like, as you get older, it's harder in entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Because it's harder to connect and relate.
Yeah.
The audience changes, your audience matures, and everybody goes through that.
Yeah.
Do you know I've been nominated for 6 Oscars? And won an Emmy.
Smartest guys in the room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what?
First movie ever greenlit. So I got an email from this dude named Alex Gibney, a director.
Okay.
He goes, I have this video from this company called Enron. I'm like, I know who Enron is. And he's like, yeah, it shows some shady shit. And I'm like, do you own the video? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, what's the budget for this documentary? He goes, $770,000. I'm like, I'll do that. And so I literally greenlit it in 12 minutes, and he creates this documentary called Enron, the Smartest Guys in the Room, which is insanely good.
It's great. It's great. Actually great.
Yeah, and back then it was a top 10 documentary in revenues. It's not close now, but got nominated for an Academy Award. Then the next fucking year, right, my partner Todd says, we're going to invest in this movie. Are you in? I'm like, sure. It's about the McCarthy trials, and it's in black and white, and it's got George Clooney and all these other folks, and it's called Good Night and Good Luck. Good Night and Good Luck gets nominated for 6 Academy Awards. We didn't fucking win any of them, but we had an Academy Awards party at Dan Tana's, and I swear I was doing body shots on Cindy Crawford, sitting next to Madonna, trying to get her to do shots with me. She wouldn't do it. It was, and my pregnant wife is sitting right there. Trooper. Yeah. It was insane.
I remember that time. I remember just you had like a real Midas touch. Everything was just boom,
It was
boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, but then you haven't heard of any of the other movies we've done since then.
Sharknado 3.
Sharknado 3. The best thing ever. No, the best thing about that movie, right? I told him you couldn't kill me. You cannot kill me because if there's going to be another one, I want to be able to come back.
Sharknado 4.
Yeah, right.
You cannot be in Sharknado 4.
But watching them kill everybody else. So like Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk, right? He's like a security guard in it, and he died or protection for the president, and he dies. And so they have to go through this whole thing to die before they put the special effects. And so there's fucking Lou Ferrigno and Rick Fox and all these other, and they're laying on the floor going, it's the funniest shit ever. So yeah, Sharknado 3 was a moment in history.
The happiest moment outside of family, kids, etc. Is it the NBA championship?
Yeah. No, I'd say
the picture of you at the urinal holding the Larry
Yeah,
O'Brien
that was amazing. I knew that was
iconic,
I knew that was good.
dude.
No, you know what? I would say getting the money from broadcast.com was number one. The NBA was number two.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
makes
that
sense.
opened the door to everybody else, everything else. But yeah, and I remember, so I had to piss. We were just drinking beer, and I walk in to take a piss, and I have the trophy, and I'm thinking, and there's cameras behind me, and I'm thinking, if someone gets a picture of this, it's going to be iconic, the best picture ever.
Yeah.
And there's literally a picture of me, like, yep.
I want to get it.
pulling it up
Miles,
right
can you
now.
get it up?
Joey's on this.
Oh, he got it.
The
Let's see if
greatest
he can
picture
get
of
it
all
up.
time.
Okay, so the first big sale is the best feeling, but the championship,
Was amazing.
because there's so
But it was
many
almost,
variables.
let me just tell you,
Yeah.
it was also anticlimactic.
Why?
Because, it was like, it happens. And
Oh, you guys did it in Miami, didn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't at home.
Dude, I watched
but
that
still-
game with you at a friend's house.
Yeah.
that's
And
crazy.
Dirk was just unbelievable.
Unreal.
And he just carried the whole. It was
by
no
far the
disrespect to
best
anybody
player
on the team,
ever.
But that, there we go. Now he's
But he
talking.
started, 1 of 11 in game 6.
Yes.
And I'm so used to heartbreak as a Dallas sports
like,
fan that
we
I'm
just
like,
thought for
are we
sure.
fucking what's going
Yeah.
on?
But then,
then
Yeah.
he came back the second half. But like, I'll never forget. So the worst part of it, like, I'm super superstitious, like beyond belief. And so if you ever watched any highlights and they show me from that series, I'm sitting there like this. I've got a Diet Coke right here. And every time we have the ball, I have to take a sip of the Diet Coke and put it down and straighten out the straw, because if I don't, we won't make the hoop, right?
I love it.
And so my face at the beginning of the game is like this. By the end of the game, my face is
He's got 14
That's why
Diet Cokes.
I had to piss at the
for sure. But so we get there and we make a bucket. Yeah, there we go.
That is a fucking fire picture, dude.
Yep. And so we get this bucket to go up 10 with 31 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
It was the
my
leaning,
God.
I think. Yeah, Dirk shot over.
And I'm like,
Bosh.
oh my God, we're gonna win. And Brendan Haywood was here. Brian Grant, a guy who works was there. Deshaun Stevenson was right there. And I've got my arms around him, and they're just holding me up, and I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs, because the best part about it was the stress release. Because the uncertainty of whether or not you're going to win, like we had fucked up in 2006,
yeah.
and you just don't know.
Yeah.
And just that release, that moment of screaming at the top of my lungs was the best part
You
of it.
screamed before the game was over?
It was over.
30
You knew
seconds. It was over.
You knew
30
it was over.
I'm a
seconds.
Knicks fan. 30 seconds is a lifetime.
It's a lifetime, right?
Dude, not only
just
did-
ask Reggie Miller, right? Yeah.
Not only did they lose 2006, 2007, I don't know if y'all remember, you remember, there were 67 and 15, best team in the league. Everybody thought, okay, this is the year they got it. First round, I'm watching the whole thing, dude. I'm a Mavs fan. We're losing to Golden State, just getting dominated. And that's when I was like, it was a foregone conclusion to me we're going to win this year. What the fuck
we
is
were
happening?
so good.
What do you think happened?
Dirk won the MVP.
Because the team we played was our former coach.
Yeah, Don
And
Nelson.
So he had all the
he knew
fucking-
what to
All the
do.
ins and outs, every weakness.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you win, like I remember going on the court, hugging everybody and just screaming, and then it was like, let's party.
Yeah.
And the party was good, but but it wasn't like.
But it was
it wasn't like world change. It wasn't like the clouds opened up
it was the
and
stress
the
release.
angels. Yeah,
It
it was
was
more
just-
stress release than anything else. It was almost anticlimactic once we won.
Once it happened.
Yeah,
Dude, that was the happiest I've been as a sports fan my entire life. Because when the Cowboys won Super Bowls, I was too young to know.
Yeah.
How, I was like, oh, that's what you do.
This is
the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl.
adulthood, your
I've seen every
lifetime team.
heartache. I've seen them be shitty in the 90s before we bought them. So I remember being like, oh, this could never happen again. I'd be happy.
Was there like a player on the team you were really happy for? Was there someone who you find?
Jason Kidd. Yeah,
it was
and
Jay
Dirk.
Kidd.
Yeah, and Dirk. Yeah, those two guys, because Jay Kidd was 38 and Dirk was 32.
Yeah.
And so like come so close, come so close, come so close. And so for both of them, I was really happy. That's why we built a fucking statue for Dirk.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Is there a really like behind the scenes story that nobody knows from that championship run, or maybe just even the craziest thing you've seen as an owner that you feel comfortable talking about?
Shit. There's so many things. But just from that run, one of the things, it wasn't crazy, but it was just cool that everybody got together and said, we're wearing black on game 6.
Before game 6.
Yeah, before game 6, because you wear black to a funeral. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. Let me
I
get
mean, that's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
It's like because that backfires.
It really, because I've seen it back since then. I don't know if we were the first, but we were one of the first. And since then, I've seen it backfire. Yeah.
Yeah, and if that backfires, it could break you for Game 7 even.
Right? There's
This public embarrassment.
Yeah.
Wow, whose idea was the...
I don't even know. But then
I would assume Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, and shout out to TC, because I was doing interviews and walking by their locker room, and they had just started the champagne and everything, and I didn't know it. I didn't want to miss it, but Tyson, I had no idea. So Tyson saw me, he goes, "Cube, get your ass in." He drags me in there, and that was also one of the best moments when you're like doing the. What you see on TV everywhere. Yeah. The champagne and screaming and the goggles or whatever. Yeah. Oh, everybody getting soaking wet.
I remember I knew how euphoric it was for you. A post-game interview, you just go, "Shouts to the Dallas fans. We pumped the shit out of the Miami fans."
I can't believe you remember. It was live on TV.
Now I watched every minute of the post-game. I'm a Dallas fan.
I was drunk as fuck. I was drunk as fuck.
And caffeinated.
I was drunk as fuck because we had the champagne and the beer, and I was just pouring
Hannah
it.
Storm was so confused, dude. She was like, "All right."
And I told her, I even said, I might curse because I'm a little bit, and she said, "Whatever, it's live."
Yeah, you got to let that rip. NBA champion, man.
Okay, follow up. What do you need to do that again for this team with Luka?
Klay Thompson.
You think that's it?
I think that's a big difference. Look, the West is so tough.
Yeah.
But we'll be better than we were last year. Derek Lively had an incredible rookie season.
Yeah.
He's going to be better. PJ Washington and Gaff, we got midseason. They'll have more time with us. They'll be better. Kyrie and Luka will be Kyrie and Luka. And then, Jaden Hardy will be better. But you add Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
And, in Golden State, they had to have him on the run, right? He had to be in motion all the time. With us, because Luka and Kai can create for other people.
You just need to stay in a corner.
You just stand in the corner, just stay in an open spot where you're most comfortable. And it's not like Steph couldn't do it, but
it's just not their offense.
It's just not
motion.
Yeah. And so I think that's really going to be.
And also Luka and Kai just demand so much attention.
So much. And then defensively, like where our season really turned around last year is when we made the decision to always have either Gaff or Derek Lively on the court, so we always had a shot blocker. That changed everything. Because we went from 26 and 23 to like getting to the playoffs and doing some damage.
Yeah.
And so that was, I think when you bring that back, we get a little bit more cohesion because even though it was the playoffs, you don't have a lot of time to practice. So we'll be better. The problem is the entire Western Conference is going to be better.
Fucking good.
I'm really astonished y'all recovered from the Jalen Brunson departure. The way you did.
I mean, Jalen, to his credit, just got a lot better. I did hit their podcast just because Jalen asked me, and he wasn't nearly as good. Yeah, if he was the same player he is today, we would have maxed him out.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw a little glimpse, I think, in that playoff run.
Where he dropped like 41
against
games.
Utah. He had good games against Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then we lost to Golden State, but I remember thinking, I didn't think it'd be this, but it seemed like he just wanted to go to
He wanted his own team.
Yeah.
For sure. He wanted his own team. He was always going to be second to Luka.
Just give us something.
Yeah,
we'll take something.
We need.
I'm a little annoyed you took that pay cut for y'all.
I'm telling you what, we would have paid him more, but that's
Explain this because my understanding is one, it's amazing that he's even willing to do it, but is he also basically holding out for the new CBA where he'll be able to get like max?
Yeah, because
$500 million.
I mean, he hasn't told me this. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
But he's like 28 now, and so he did a 3-year deal, I think.
2 or 3.
2 and an option.
Yeah.
So he'll probably opt out. So he's 30, which is he's young enough. The new CBA kicks in, and then the dollars are going to be insane.
Yeah. You don't want to have the 5-year deal where now you're 33 and asking for another 5 years. You're a small
and who knows
point
what
guard.
else, exactly.
And I'm sure you could buy that insurance thing. I don't know if players always did this, but the idea that you could insure against.
No, you can and you do. And
That's
the teams
so
do too.
smart.
Like the teams pretty much have to insure their top 4 players.
Well, the teams insure for themselves, but the players are starting to insure.
No, and they know that. They get that for sure.
What a smart thing, especially if you're going, you know what? I'm going to take a 1-year deal because I'm waiting to see what else is in the market. You can insure against a future max contract.
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah. But it costs you more. But yeah,
it costs you more. But still, like
comedians should do that.
Yeah, nobody wants us next year. We don't have that supply and demand
for a tour. The weather.
Actually, they do. They do.
You do the weather for sure. Yeah,
for weather for cancellations like that, 100%.
No, even for like getting sick or anything when you have a tour, like
any what is it called? Like outside factor that could stop the show.
Yeah,
but you can't insure for. I don't want to go on tour next year.
Yeah, right. I'm tired of that shit. That had to be a grind. How much of a grind going around the world like that?
We're the luckiest people on the planet.
No, but I know. Okay, but how much of a grind?
Honestly, it's not that crazy. Like,
because I couldn't imagine like all that travel.
I get tired. I do. My body be breaking down.
But the elements fuck with you a little bit. You get sick easier and shit.
I can't sleep. I got insomnia.
No, you can't sleep. Fucks with you.
No, he's. Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind it. It's more. This is what it is. If you were just traveling the weekends and then during the week we got to hang out, that'd be fine.
Of course.
I got a 8-month-old baby. I got there's a lot of we're doing pods all week. You come back, that's when it gets crazy.
That's brutal.
But if you're just weekend warrior comedian like I was early in my career, like
that's fun.
You're playing pickup all week and then you go on the road and tell jokes. It's like
what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
You in the nose.
Exactly. Now they all think you're talking about me.
No,
but we're talking about Brian Damaris. Never, when I've been spoken about with someone else, have they referred to the other person as a nose.
We've been called nose for 20 years.
Yeah, shout out Damaris, man. So there's a guy.
We got you, Brian.
He would open. He worked for you. You said
he worked for me. Yeah,
and now he's an on-air reporter.
On air for the Mavs.
Oh, dude, he's the guy that cooked James Harden.
Yes,
went
viral rant. Anyway, he would open for me randomly at when I would perform at Hyenas when I was in Dallas. He actually took me to the practice facility once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah,
great practice. This is like you guys had like ice baths and shit.
Yeah, we got
before it was popular.
Yeah, we got it done early.
Yeah, it was cool stuff. Anyway, dude, thank you so much. We can talk
forever.
Amazing. We'd love to have you back on. You're the fucking man. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Cuban,
Thanks so much.
This is great, man. Best podcast I've ever done. It was
dude.